Okay, that's enough of that music. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show. I would like to welcome everybody. We're broadcasting live on Yerg's Radio, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, Trovo, I think Rumble, and some other places. I don't know. Also want to remind everybody that you can find the OR Normal Guyz over on Radio Fairfax, Fairfax Radio, cable channel 37, and 99.1 WDJY in Atlanta, 92.9 FM and 89.3 KUVO in Denver. In the Pacifico community, you can catch us on Comcast 26 and 27. And you can, well, pretty much find us anywhere and everywhere. We're growing pretty quick. So everybody, the chat is open. The phone lines are up. Hello, Uncommon Soul. Hello, Brenda. And let's see, who do we got hiding in the back here? I've got my cohort. Let's get this off your face. Mr. B Dizzle.
Hiding.
Well, there's worse places to be. And I've got Mr. Warren. Hey, how are you?
What up, y'all?
How is everybody tonight?
I'm good. Drinking some of my hibiscus tea because I got a physical tomorrow. Little liver cleanse, blood pressure.
I was going to ask what that does for you. Yeah, I didn't know.
A dietitian recommended it for me because I had a blood pressure problem. She said if you have a little cup every night, it'll help it low. It actually helps the liver too. Yeah.
I take Chandra. I'd have to look it up. Chandra Pydra, something like that. That's for the livers and kidneys since I have kidney damage. And well, thank you, Brenda. Brenda says best looking 3 guys in the world. She must be watching something else. So.
I'm pretty good looking. I mean, this beard is rocking these days.
Well, I'm getting the chops. I don't have Warren's statue yet, but you know. You gotta work. It's gonna take me years to get this that long. This is almost a year. Well, tonight we're supposed to have Tidal Wave Comics first, and then the second comic book company, Diebold. Oh God, I'm probably gonna say it wrong. They're not gonna show up. Is coming on after that. The first Tidal Wave Comics, they have produced the series for a lot of the female singers, you know, Dolly Parton, Taylor Swift, and now they got the Travis Kelce one. But they've also done some stuff with Survivor Man and Bigfoot and some other stuff. So they're going to come on and talk to us about that. Well, hopefully. So we'll get that going when they get here. And then if not, we have the second guest lined up in the second hour, which is definitely going to be here. I spoke to her just a little while ago, actually. So they're looking forward to the show.
I may have to drop off after the first hour just because I'm so tired. But yeah, I wanted to come on here and get at least some trigger time because I like being on this show because the music is good. What?
I do love that song. Yeah, it's actually it's a copyright royalty free song. You could use it. I think I sent it to you.
You did.
Yeah, I love that song. It does perk you up a little bit before the show.
3, 2, 1, go.
Well, the one that I was using for the Big Brother show with it had the EDM with, well, I guess it was really dubstep with the drop and harmonica.
Dubstep.
That one was one of my favorites. So I may switch to the Grid and Guardian that show to do that song. So
remember when hip hop was a thing in the early 2000s?
Yes, I actually played one on the radio the other day. I was like, "Why is this in my lineup? I don't understand."
I don't know why, but like back home, like that kind of music was like a hit.
So it was in Knoxville too. Yeah.
So I guess it'd be Chub Step.
It could be. Yeah. I recorded my show. I always record the day before, so that way if there's any news or anything exciting stuff going on, I put it out. Of course, you know, well, maybe not everybody knows. You can find me on a Thin Line rock station Tuesdays and Thursdays, rocking out from 12 till 2 Eastern time. So
WDJY.
No, that's not that one. I'm on WDJY Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So we're there then. And I've got to pull up my planner to tell you when we're on the other places because I'll be honest, I forget. It's getting to be so many. And I just got a call today about asking if I wanted to go to another Western area. It was somewhere in New Mexico.
Kind of, sort of.
But yeah, so, and then another one in DC. So
I do kind of like the idea, though.
Go ahead.
Chub step.
Well, you know what? If you could get Brian to produce it, heck yeah, I'll play it. I love the heck out of that. Dubstep electronic music is my thing.
You know, you don't fit that, or I don't see you fitting the norm. Like, that's kind of odd. I dig it. Don't get me wrong. It's just I didn't.
No. I mean, well, no, and that's okay because, well, I mean, dude, I could play the blues one day, and then the next I'm playing classic rock. You know, sometimes I'll go to sleep with cinematic station in my headphones. You know, so it just depends on the mood. It really does.
Absolutely, man. All over the board, man. I dig that.
The only type of music I can say I don't like is probably opera. I've listened to it. I just don't understand it. Not a huge fan of classic music or classical style, but if it's done like with a band, like orchestra type with, like guitars, pianos, that type of thing, not like wind instruments, I'll listen to it some, but it's relaxing.
You ever play any King Crimson on your station?
I haven't seen him come up in my lineup yet, but heck, shoot me a request and I'll try and get it on there. So the program director there is pretty dang awesome. He was looking for, after I made a joke on the air, apparently some other people on another show made a comment about it. C.W. McCoy Convoy, or C.W. McCall Convoy. You just have to Google it. It's an old country and western song. It's back around Smokey and the was it Smokey and the Bear with Burt Reynolds? Is back in that era style. Smokey the Bandit. No, the Bear was the truck driving TV show, wasn't it?
Oh, that's kind
BJ and the Bear. BJ and the Bear. That's who. Yeah. Oh, Uncommon Soul wants to know she can cut in.
Absolutely. Come on in.
You can cut in. Absolutely. I mean, it's a free country. It's a free world. So yeah. So I'm always listening. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. I got that pillowcase speaker now. Bluetooth. That's nice. Put on sleep timer. Yeah.
Much better. Yeah. Well, Brian's like way into opera music. He was actually on I can't remember what year it was, the Tulsa Opry is part of that. So his playlist can be it's interesting. Our musical tastes kind of clash with each other.
There's really not much I don't like. I got on a kick when my friend had the band in Knoxville. They did rockabilly.
Sorry about that.
I love rockabilly.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I got a kick on that for a while, and I just couldn't stop. I was like finding stuff that was like obscure.
So I ended up haphazardly at an Unknown Henson concert once.
Well, how was it?
It was weird. It was after I'd started. Well, I can't remember what year it was. It was probably around 2010, 2011. It was right when I started to be where I wanted to go to bed instead of do anything else. A couple years into working professionally, and it was like on a Thursday night, I think. I had to be at work the next day. I'm just like, what are we doing? It is 10 o'clock and I'm still out. Yeah. You know who he is, don't you? The guy that voiced Early Kyler on the Squidbillies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Play off the trail.
Yeah, he's I'm trying to think of a good word that would fit him.
He tries to fake. He does like has an Elvis vibe, but he tries to be a vampire at the same time.
I was trying. That's Rob Zombie Dracula. I'm playing that a lot now on my station.
He has like a vampire vibe. It's this stuff's funny. I mean, it's like a funny, serious rockabilly, but
what is they had the TV or they had the movie with George Clooney and that style of country western music. Oh, actually, that's
Brother?
Yeah, what was it? Brother How Art Thou?
Oh, Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother Where Art Thou? Yeah, yeah. What is that style considered? Is that
That's probably mostly bluegrass.
I was gonna say old Tommy.
Well, you got Alison Krauss as a bluegrass singer, and Union Station's a bluegrass band.
Yeah, but that's an odd combination.
In Constant Sorrow is a bluegrass song. Well,
and a lot of the places will play covers of stuff like that. And matter of fact, we just played a cover on the station the other day, and it was Billie Jean, Michael Jackson's song. It was a blues version. I'm like, is this the same song? I mean, this is like a 3/4 beat, and it's just drawn out. But it was good. It was good. So
my new favorite show, Fargo, is a Coen Brothers show, because the original Fargo was a Coen Brothers movie, and the soundtrack to Fargo is a lot of old Brothers songs and a lot of Big Lebowski songs that are set to like Southern rock and stuff. So I love it. I mean, like just replaying I'll just be replaying the soundtrack over. Go to sleep, little baby.
Speaking of Southern rock, Leonard Skinner is protesting because they were denied entry into the Music Hall of Fame. So
they've been dead for 40 years. Are they protesting like on Ghostbusters?
Not all of them.
They're all dead. Every original band is dead.
Well, every original member, yeah. But then, like their daughters, cousins, brothers, sisters, sons, nephews joined in.
RVZ or nothing for me. That's my stance.
And then somewhere in there, 38 Special came along, which I'm not sure about. I played that the other day. So
the original drummer, I think, died last year. I think. Last stuff I remember.
Yeah, because I think the one that was on Facebook complaining was like the guitarist's son or something. I can't remember the relation. Yeah, you're right. They were rich to start with, and then they were just making money off of the family name or band name. So
yeah, I mean, I don't fault them for keeping it going, but I've never been to a Leonard Skinner concert, and they used to play Alabama and Homecoming and stuff all the time. And I'm like, I'm not going to that. It's not Leonard Skinner.
I went to 38 Special way back in the 80s, but probably
I've been to the front row. I've been to the front row on Charlie Daniels concert before.
Oh God, but that was great.
Yeah, it's at the barbecue festival downtown here.
Oh, okay. And Waylon Jennings, his son, Shooter Jennings, he's got some good stuff out. We're playing one of his newest releases today.
He's got that Busted in Brainerd County. Busted. Yep. That was on the Dukes of Hazzard soundtrack.
Yep, exactly.
From the movie.
You were listening to Hank 3?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I got the whole... Oh, you kidding me? I might get drunk and rob a bank.
That's
well, I'll be...
He's probably got everything.
I got those CDs of Hank 3, buddy. I love Sheldon Williams. He is a god to me.
Oh, look at that. We're bonding.
Hank 3?
Yeah.
I go all day.
Sportcat, Hank 3?
Here at night. I toss and I turn.
Occasionally.
Ow, my heart yearns.
I'm more prone to crazy country roll.
Well, my dad was a country and western DJ, so I had all the old classic stuff growing up. So I still got 45s and 78s in mom's attic with WXRA, the radio station logo on it. So
really,
I like when Hank III was doing the narration for that Jessica White documentary.
I don't remember that
on Netflix. Yeah, The Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Hank III is like the narrator to it, and he plays the songs.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It is an incredible train wreck. He takes that.
It wouldn't be the Bloodline if you didn't wreck it.
No, he takes that. He doesn't. One of the guys on it has a pill bottle full of Vicodin or something. Starts shaking it. He goes, "You hear that? That's a Boone County mating call." That's the best.
Yes, that common still Deadpool.
I haven't seen it yet. It's called Wild Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Yeah.
Hank the Third is the main character or balladeer.
Aside from doing drive-by sports and news, I have not watched a TV show. I'm so behind in Disney. I'm so behind on Netflix. I was looking at my account the other day, and I'm having like Apple come out and Netflix and ESPN and all this other stuff. I'm like, I never watch TV. Why do I have this?
Isn't Deadpool a comic book character from Uncommon Soul? Well, yes, he is. Marvel Universe.
Yes, it is the Marvel Universe. He's got a movie coming out soon. So
where's the
wait.
Wolverine? I don't know. I sent the link. Let me see if I. Let's see if I have. Correct. We're on tonight. I'm in the room, but no one's here. Well,
has he been waiting?
He says he's in the room and nobody's there, but I'll send him the link again. I don't know.
You know what?
This is why I don't like sending the link before. A lot of people.
It happens to me a lot. I end up in the background. You were cussing my name the other night. I'm like, I'm right here.
Well, that was different. I wasn't even looking at the screen, so that was a little different.
Shoot my car if it don't crank.
Yeah, no, nobody's queued in the backstage. So
get in Mr. Naya's pants.
In April, I'm considering Restream. I'm seriously considering Restream. So, of course, now my feed will probably get killed that I said that.
Well, now that I've gone to more of a post-production format, I'm going to get Riverside.
I liked Riverside, but there's still some technical hangups that I didn't like, but you could probably handle it. So, being the techie. Restream is pretty much point and click, which I'm pretty good at pointing and clicking. So,
okay. I got that new camera. I have to use my selfie stick with the little adhesive thing. That's how I'll focus it.
Hey, we got an incoming phone call.
Oh,
it's Wendell.
Hello there. It's Wendell. No, it's my other favorite fan. Hello, how are you, beautiful?
Oh God.
Make you go away.
How are you?
Doing good.
It's Kevin Stallings.
Yeah, it's the one only Uncommon Soul.
Wait. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
Is this free?
Bobby?
I'm good.
Should I put quarters in or something?
No, she called us.
Oh no. That.
Okay, hold on a minute, Uncommon Soul. Michael is joining the room here. Hey, Michael. Let me move this. Was the link different than the one I sent you?
I don't know. I sat there and listened to you for a while, though.
I'm so sorry.
Nah, no worries.
Hey,
what am I doing? Watching Netflix? I don't know.
Watching Bobby Dizzle sing Hank the Third. That's got to be a low for everyone.
I did feel like I needed a drink after that, so I guess it's fine.
It worked, bro. Good job, man.
All right.
So Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself. We just start the show off totally wrong tonight. We're singing old country western.
I don't even know what we're
songs,
talking about.
music.
I'm having herbal tea. What the world?
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Of course, I know all about what's going on and how you are and everything, but a lot of my fan base probably doesn't know a lot about your work. I'm hoping to change that.
Oh. Well, I don't even know where to start. By day, I work at Missouri State University running tutoring programming and teaching honors college students how to write. But by night, I write comic books for a company called Tidal and a couple others. And a lot of the comics that I write are actually about real people and real situations. So you take somebody's life and you put it into comic book format. I've been doing that for about 10 years. In addition to the biography comics that I'm writing, I also write some science fiction stuff. Don't like a lot of superhero stuff, but I do it anyway if they ask. Had an ongoing series a couple times. Right now we're working with a rather infamous person. If you don't know who she is, do not Google Stormy Daniels at work. I'm just going to put that out for you right now. Don't do it. If you do, and you talk to HR, just say that you were looking for my comic book, Stormy Daniels Space Force, because it is PG-13. So those are some of the
You
things
got
that
a
I'm working on.
comic book nowadays?
Yeah, Uncommon Soul is a caller. She's on the line right now, and
Which scared the hell out of me right now because I forgot she was there.
Wait a minute.
You didn't know that
Oh my God.
there's a comic book about
Is
Stormy
that a
Daniels.
comic book of her?
There is.
Apparently there will be. Yeah. Oh, there already is. Okay.
There are 12 issues out already, actually.
Wow. I love it. Why did I not ask for those instead?
You know.
Oh.
Uncommon Soul, unless you got a question, I'm gonna have to let you go so I can get back to the interview here. But yes, Stormy Daniels.
I thought there was a spirit in my ear. I didn't know what I was hearing.
I will talk to you soon. Bye bye. We'd have a live call in 1-888-88-YERGZ, compliments of Jurg's radio. You never know what'll happen. And I swear I didn't do the research, or I would have probably brought that up about Stormy Daniels. I apologize.
I just figured I'd beat you to the punch if you had.
I got nothing for it. I mean, it's
wait, what is it again?
I'm curious.
Stormy Daniels Space Force.
All right, I want it.
It's obviously
it started out kind of as a lark. We wrote a biography of her, and the publisher contacted her, wanted to know what she was interested in doing. They ignored it for a while, and then they got hold of it, and she talked to the publisher, asked for some updates. I wrote a few page updates for the comic. I didn't write the original book, but I wrote the updates. And then she asked if we would pitch something new, and so we came back to her with a political parody, Star Trek parody. There it is, of Stormy Daniels Space Force.
For the Sportcat, you're going to love it.
That is issue number 1, right there. Yep, right off Amazon.
That's great.
We had a great time. It takes place in the 23rd century, and Trump is still president, but he's a disembodied head in a jar.
Like Nixon on Futurama?
Kind of like that. And he's got Space Force as a military arm, and then they've got a pirate arm. So the military arm protects Earth while the pirate arm goes out and plunders. And she's one of his pirate captains. We don't even try to explain how she's still alive. We just say it's clean living.
Yeah.
Right? And she goes
Literally
out
through pharmacology, probably.
Right. Well, we started writing this right before the 2020 election. And so when it was clear that he wasn't going to win, we thought we got to write him out. So we wrote him out. So we've been having adventures without Trump. She's just been, exploring the galaxy in the way that she does. And now that the election's coming around again, we started writing him back in. So, I mean, who knows where it's going to go next. And that's the fun part about doing these comics in real time and trying to have some fun with the parody on it all, is that you want to make sure you're staying relevant and people are interested in it. Yeah, there she is. She fires in the next issue for sure.
What, does she have a sidekick? What is that?
Oh, that's Munch, her sidekick. Yeah,
Munch.
Munch.
Oh my
God! She's also we've kind of established that her career took a different turn later in her life, and she became governor of Louisiana for a while, and then that's where she's from. And then something happened and we don't explain, and now she's in the 23rd century and kind of making her mark. So that's what the comic's been about. It's more comedy than I'm used to writing, and some parody. Early on, we had a co-writer, Daniel Shade. He is he was on Naked and Afraid. Yep. And he came in and did some jokes for us and wrote in there for the first 4 issues. And then issues 5 and 6, the publisher and I kind of did together. And then I started to branch off on my own as writing it. So having a writing team was kind of different for me. But in the end, we've been pretty proud of the book and really been happy that she's been, promoting it on her Twitter feed and on her pages and things. That's great. If you go to her merch store, she'll actually sign copies for you. So Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a weird gig being a comic writer who's also freelance because I never know what my publisher's going to call me with next.
Well, I would have never seen the Stormy Daniels one coming.
Right, I didn't either. Well, Andrew Shade, who helped write it, the first 4 issues, he was a lot of fun to work with. Pretty funny guy. And then after he left, I kind of refocused the book a little bit more on the Star Trek. I leaned more into making fun of the old Star Trek episodes and having a good time with that. One of my gigs locally here in Missouri was writing a live staged parody of Star Trek episodes. And we would do it with the cheap special effects and cardboard sets and costumes that looked like they were handmade, because they were. And we would have the script in our hands and make jokes and have a good time with it. It was a real stand-up kind of thing. I usually played McCoy or one of the bad guys. And what I liked about, I think, doing that kind of work is it really helped me prepare to write comic books like this, to try to get a voice in there. But I think you guys asked me on because you wanted to talk a little bit about the Dolly book, if that was that right?
Well, yeah, I'm originally from Knoxville, and it was weird. Oddly enough, I'm probably around because of Dolly. When she was with the Porter Wagner show, my dad was a DJ, WXRA in Virginia, Washington D.C., and that's my mom and him hooked up. And funny, weird story. Well, I mean, I can't deny it. It happened. But the funny thing about it was the night that she was there was like a singing competition or something. Some of Dolly Parton's backup singers with her and Porter Wagner got sick. And so she was like, I need you and you. And Mom was one of them. So she ended up singing with her for a while. So that's how I got interested in it. I bought the issues and gave them straight to Mom, and she loved it. She's still in Knoxville now. And so
I'm glad she liked it.
Yeah. And I've read them. Of course, I mean, I knew a lot of the history because when you put Kaz Walker in there, I thought that was great. WIVK in Knoxville.
I tried to, when we do these stories, they're pretty tough because you're talking about the full life of a person in 22 pages. Mm-hmm. And that means when I think about it, when I write the script for the artist, I've got to think of 100 pictures. So how am I telling this person's story in 100 photographs? Because I'm describing each picture to the artist who then translates that, and hopefully with their own style. And Tidal Wave hired pretty fun artist on that Dolly books because I like the cartoony style that he chose to go with the interior. It made it a little lighter in some areas, and I like that a lot. It was tough to decide what to put in, what to leave on the floor, because she's had such a busy life, right? So we told the first issue just was a basic overview of her career and kind of her upbringing. A lot of people knew that stuff anyway. So I wanted to throw in some little Easter eggs here and there for people who actually were from the area and understood where she was from. But when it did so well, we got a coloring book out of it, actually. You can find it on Amazon. And then we got a book too that talks about more of her philanthropy and things like that filled in the gaps that I left out in the first book. We felt like that was probably the best way to go. And it seems to be the model that we're choosing whenever we have a book that kind of goes viral, like the Dolly book did. I mean, it even got special Christmas covers, I think, at one point.
Yeah. It was very popular, I know, in Tennessee. And now you're branching out and doing sports with Travis Kelce. So that's all that. I'm not sure was that your writing or?
Yeah. Okay. There was a Taylor Swift book that came out a couple months earlier by a different writer. Now, I like to tell this story because it makes me want to kick myself every time, right? So the publisher and I will talk about what characters we want to do next, who we're going to profile. And he gave me a list of things that he was thinking about, and Taylor was on it and went, I don't want to do that one. I chose Shakira instead. And it comes out next week.
Is there a picture?
I don't think so. Not yet. I mean, if there is on Amazon, I'd be shocked, but maybe he sometimes is pretty quick.
You drew Dolly a certain way, so I'm assuming you drew Shakira also a certain way.
Oh, well, she's a little more realistic art than that one. Oh. Yeah. So anyway, the Taylor book went viral. Stores were picking it up, putting their own. covers on it. It's a big deal. So publisher called me back and says, well, you feeling dumb yet? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I probably should have chose that one. And we talked a little bit about the Chiefs, and obviously Kelsey was going to be it. It made a lot of sense. So we would end the book with his relationship with her. So that kind of dovetailed into that comic. So the Kelsey book actually was just released right before the Super Bowl.
Yes, so it just
Good
came
timing.
out. Yeah.
Well, the Taylor book, I will say, good timing. It was the day that she was named like Person of the Year by Time. I don't know how my publisher knows this stuff, but he knows how to nail that timeline, right? And so the Kelsey book's kind of gone viral itself. Stores have done their own signings. And in Kansas City, I believe it's this weekend or next weekend, Planet Comic-Con is coming up. And one of those special covers by an artist is going to be showcased there. So if you are in Kansas City and wanting to pick up a special version of that Travis Kelsey book, go to Planet Comic-Con and see Ryan Kincaid. But yeah, we're branching out in the sports. And for a guy who, well, look at me, I'm not a football player. It was I had to learn how to play the game just to write the comic, because half the time I'm like, what play is that? What are they doing? How do I describe this to the artist? What the hell? All right, so you do your best.
We've interviewed a couple different artists and, of course, authors. And I would have thought before this that the comic book would have been easier to write, but in fact, it's the opposite, because you have to I have to paint the picture to you of what I want to see and then tell the story. And I was like, I had never thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah, you're right. It's a challenge. When I talked to Tidal about 10 years ago, we started talking online. He liked my stuff, and he said, have you ever tried writing a comic? I said, no. And he sent me a couple samples of what scripts look like, and there was no set standard. The whole entire industry doesn't even have a standard. It's really if the writer can convey to the artist what you need, that's how you do it. And as I've started to learn and grow as a writer writing these things, I've also understood I got to trust my artists a lot more, right? Because it's not just me telling the story. You should be able to tell the story by reading it. But then what if we took all the words out? The story still should flow because of the art. And then the color also enhances that. And even the way that the letterer goes in and adds all those letters makes a difference in the way that you tell the story. Mood, tone, the setting. It's a really remarkable, and it is a challenge. A friend of mine said, oh, isn't it like a screenplay? I'm like, no. Screenplays have motion and movement, and comic books are static pictures that you have to describe. And so there's a kind of a shorthand when you read it from one panel to the next, something has occurred, movement has happened, and you've got to be able to convey that in the story. It was a trick, I tell you, and it took a little bit to learn how to do it. It used to take me about 6 weeks to write a script. Now I've got it down to about 10 days, I guess.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, and now you don't get to actually meet or talk to the celebrities that you do this. You got, I guess, go through the publisher, or how does that work?
Well, it depends. The publisher handles most of everything. So I'm just a freelancer. He's in Portland, Oregon. I'm in Springfield, Missouri. So I've only met him once, and that was because I was there at a conference for my day job, and we had drinks and hung out. And he was a great guy. Funny, after 10 years of just talking to him like you and I are right now, finally meeting him somewhere. He was shorter than I thought he would be, and I hope he sees this too, right? But he's a heck of a nice guy. I just had a great time. But he'll handle all that stuff behind the scenes, and they reach out to people, and sometimes our people will profile, answer, and sometimes they don't. Now, I can tell you, when the person we're profiling is involved, it is much better, because then you get the nuances and things that you usually miss when you're doing deep research, watching videos, reading articles, these sorts of things. You can miss some of the behind the scenes thing that really make it come alive. So we've had the involvement of politicians and musicians and, artists of that nature. And they usually send those notes through the publisher. Yeah. Because they don't need to be talking to me and five or six other people putting it together at the time. They need to be talking to one voice.
So Trump didn't call you and tell you he was going to be president in 2040 or 2030.
No, he did not. Funny story. So I did write a Trump comic, but I had a very narrow margin to write about him because someone else had already published a Trump comic before he even came down the escalator, right, in 2016.
Yeah.
And so they said, okay, he's running for office. You got about a 6-month period to write about him as president. I'm like, what they said, I should just rerun the other comic. And they're like, no, right. I didn't know what to do. I honestly did not know how to handle it. 6 months, and usually I'm telling a full life. And what I did was I ended up talking about some generic guy in the Midwest that goes to a Trump rally that gets out of hand. Why would you vote for this guy when he's a New Yorker and you're in Kansas City? What would you do that for? And I explored this guy's life, his ups and downs, and the listening to talk radio and trying to understand it. His neighbor's a Bernie supporter. I had a lot of fun kind of playing with these ideas, these tropes. And then at the end, I predicted he'd win. Well, I got a call the next day from major news outlets calling my office at the university going, how did you know that? And I said, the story just went there. I didn't. It really wasn't the point of the book. The point of the book was just to explore, some of his rhetoric and why this was resonating at the time. And then everybody wants to pin me down. I'm like, look, I work at a university. I'd really not like to talk about my politics. It's really not important to the story. We're talking about these characters. So, I take on the jobs where I think the characters are going to be interesting. I like writing about people who have worked hard to get where they are. Like,
sure.
Well, I mean, the Shakira book that's coming out soon. I was really happy with that because, she started out with nothing and really worked hard to get where she was. People like that, politicians who maybe started out. I wrote two Elizabeth Warren comics. Oddly enough, she was a school teacher before. Where does that from here to here? I really was fascinated by that. So that becomes the story. And, I kind of like those types of things better than I like, well, I'm already rich. I'm already set. Now I'm just doing other things. Not interesting to me. Not interesting at all. That's why I think the Kelsey book resonated for me, is because I started out the comic book when he got cut from his team in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then I backtrack. And, here's a guy that well, he's a little bit of a party guy and having a lot of fun and not really thinking about, what the future might be. And has to have his big brother come in and go, all right, look, knock it off. You got to start buckling down. And even when the Chiefs pulled him in, that Reed still talked to his brother and said, hey, can you straighten him out? And I thought, this is great stuff. This is what I want to talk about. This is the type of people I like to write about. It feels a little bit more grounded, a little more interesting to me.
That whole family is fascinating. Of course, his brother just announced that he was retiring from the Eagles. So what I liked about that, not his retirement, well, I'm a Washington Redskins fan, so yes, but on the same hand, though, the emotion he had in it, it wasn't like it was just, this is a job. This is, what I'm saying? It was gut wrenching for him to make that decision. And I think that just shows what kind of character he is. I mean, aside from the fact that during this playoff games, he's hanging from windows, throwing Bud Light on fans.
Yeah, they made one of those pop figures of him like that. It's fantastic.
Yes.
No,
he's enjoying himself.
Emotional. What was that?
I said he's enjoying himself for sure.
Yeah, and why not?
Sexy Batman.
When I've been interviewed by a lot of outlets about the Kelsey book, and people always bring up like the relationship with Taylor and how that the public has responded to that. I always thought that was an odd thing to get mad about. I mean, like, I thought that the football player was supposed to date the popular girl. Am I missing something here? What? Yeah. Because if I am, I'm going back to high school and starting over because I missed something, right? Because I figured that's the way it was supposed to be. And who cares? It's their life if they want it, right? And I don't know. It was kind of fun, but I like that I was able to write the book mostly about him She appears in the book about as long as she appears in any of the games. I think I put her on a page. You know,
you didn't make any prophecies for her, do you? Don't we have a new Matt Groening that they're going to have a kid and he's going to be president or something?
That's amazing.
I was going to ask that if you got asked about being a Simpsons writer after that Trump book.
You know, the Space Force book, in and of itself, was just a lot of fun because it came at a point in time when Stormy was kind of looking at her career and looking at other options and things. And I was glad that we were able to kind of jump in there and say, look, here's a different side of her. And she's funny. And playing around with that and her attitude and things like that really helped the character build. And it added a lot of texture to the stories that I was writing about it. I mean, it could have been a generic Star Trek book, you know, just with a female lead. And it's so much more than that because of her. Sorry, a little.
You know, we have this time of year, like something's blooming. I'm hacking something up every 5 minutes.
Well, where are you guys located out of?
I'm in North Alabama, just a few miles from where Dolly is.
And you're in Oklahoma.
Yep.
We're at in Oklahoma.
Tahlequah area.
I've been there.
Oh, really?
Used to date a girl that lived in Hominy, Oklahoma. You know where that is?
I sure do.
Yeah, you sneeze and when you go through downtown, you miss it. But yeah.
Y'all them dogwoods, man. Dogwoods blooming like crazy around here.
Yeah, and outside my door here, yeah.
So I'm in Atlanta and same here. It's green outside, so.
Yeah, here too. Yeah, so forgive me if I keep coughing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all. I've got a handful of whatever you call them, throat lozenges here by me. So
the irony to what you just said. Right now, everybody coughing. Remember in March of 2020 when everybody was doing the same shit. And you're like, "What's wrong with you?" Everybody look at you like, "Ugh." I'm like, everything's blooming. I can't breathe. I don't have COVID.
That's right. Oh no, you know, but my career was kind of at its high during 2020 because I wrote a lot because I was home for 18 months.
It'd be like,
yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I was going to say, it seemed like that would have been a good time for you to take off.
Well, the biggest seller we had at that point was a comic book about Tiger King. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
Remember.
How can I forget?
My publisher and the artist called me after drinking. And they called me up and they go, "We have this really bad, good idea." And they said, "We want you to write a prequel to Tiger King." I'm like, "What's that?" And they said, "Okay, your assignment tonight is to go to Netflix and watch this thing and get back to us." So my wife and I watched the first episode and I turned and looked at her and I said, "What the hell was that? What am I doing here?"
It just kept getting worse too.
Oh yeah, it got so bad.
It did.
But there was one point that I had an interview with like an NPR outlet in New Zealand to talk about that comic. And I was on there like an hour with these folks. I'm like, why do people in New Zealand like Tiger King? What am I missing here? Even after writing the book, I still was like, this is nuts. I can't. It's insane. We did it as a flip book too. So that the first half was him. When you flipped it over, it was Carol Baskin and they met in the middle.
That bitch.
Yeah. Right?
I found it. Oh my gosh, the drawing.
Isn't it hilarious?
Who's the Harley Davidson hat wearing guys? Like the skeeziest person. I can't remember names.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's been 2020. Hell, we slept since then. I can't remember all that. Yeah.
It's a lifetime ago, yeah.
But we got a lot of multiple covers out of that, a coloring book, interviews all over the world about Tiger King, of all things.
This is glorious. I want this poster.
Isn't it hilarious?
Oh my God. I would hang that in my office.
The guy who did that, it was Joe Paradise. He's an artist out of Philadelphia. And he used to do rock and roll comics back in, I think it was the late 80s or so, when they were really popular, rock and roll style comics. And now he's a designer of some sort. And he moonlights with us every now and then. So every time Joe's on a book, I'm like, okay, I got to pull out all the stops here and do something crazy. Because, hell, he pitched after drinking, a Tiger King book to me. I got to do something for him, But he's the one who also originally wrote the bio of Stormy Daniels, and on the cover of that bio, she was spanking Trump with a magazine. So he doesn't pull any punches, and he's a lot of fun to work with. He's crazy.
It sounds like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did you ever get any? I don't want to circle back any too much, but I was going to ask if you ever heard about the Barron Trump book, where it's called Barron's Big Adventure, and it's basically it's from the 1800s, but it's about Barron who follows a guy named Don who becomes the last president of the United States.
The last, oh great!
I'm surprised you hadn't heard of that, but like it's kind of like along your book having like the same outcome.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, it's if you get down that rabbit hole of Barron's Big Adventure, you don't have anything to do tomorrow if you start it. That's all I'm going to say. Because you'll be like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, half the time I was researching that book, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, the more you dive into it, you realize that it's possible. Like, what the hell? Like that Trump's great grandpa, not Prescott Trump, that's Bush.
Yeah, it's Bush. Yeah.
Like four Trumps ago. Yeah, that was 4 Trumps ago, motherfucker.
7 Trumps ago.
Yeah, knew Nikola Tesla and got a hold of some of his documents. Yeah, now you're listening. So
yeah, you got my attention.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Barron's Big Adventure, man. It is a rabbit hole. I just do it on TikTok so you can take it in little clips. Don't do it on YouTube, but that's 2 days.
Yeah. It's you have people who swear that Trump's a time traveler. So when you said his head was in a glass jar, I was like, oh, this is great.
When you said talk about you just haphazardly put in the one, it kind of reminded me of that book.
Oh,
some of the stuff it said, you're like, man, that's just too close to comfort.
That's fascinating. All right, I'm afraid I'm going to go down a rabbit hole tomorrow.
Just do it. I mean, why not? What else you got
Blame
to do?
BobbyDizzle.com when you do.
Right?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Well, we always have the paranormal stuff too. So have you done anything with that?
Well, kind of. I wrote a book called Bender about the famous serial killer family from Southeast Kansas, the Bender family. It's my first really big graphic novel. I wrote it as the final part of my thesis for my Master of Fine Arts degree, and my brother illustrated it. We got published by a company out of Arkansas, and it's out of print now, but we're working with a new publisher to get it back to print because graphic novels come and go. And if you don't know anything about the family was operating about the same time as Little House on the Prairie. So they're on the Osage Trail. And when travelers would come down on their way to California for the gold rush, they had a beautiful woman standing out in front of this building, and she was the lure. And if a young man would stop for the night, they said it's a bed and breakfast, right? 1-room shack kind of thing. Got the bed in the corner. She's cooking. She's beautiful. She would question him. Are you traveling alone? What you doing? Your family looking for you? What's going on? And once she was satisfied, she'd sit him down at a table, and behind him was a tarp. You couldn't see behind him. He always assumed it was probably a storage area that they didn't want people to see. But really what was behind the tarp was either her brother or her father. Now, there's some debate whether they were actually related or just called each other that when they moved to the area. And when she gave the signal, one of them would smash his skull through the tarp with a giant hammer. They would dump his body below the shack. Back then, you wouldn't build a basement, but they had a crawl space down there with a limestone slab that they shipped in. And they dumped the body. And in the cover of darkness, she would go down there, draw runes on the slab to trap the soul. When they'd rob the body, take everything of value, and they take the body and they buried it in the garden. And they fed travelers with the food they grew in the garden from the bodies that they were buried. Now, how many did they kill? We don't know. There's a lot of local legend in the Southeast Kansas about how many. And once their crimes were kind of exposed, they disappeared, the entire family. And there's a lot of local lore about what happened to them. And you could tell all kinds of stories. Some of them say that they all escaped. In fact, there were even newspaper clippings of Ma and Kate, the young lady, going north and becoming like, they would trap rich people, and she would marry them, then kill them, and she was on trial, and that she even said she was, but no one could prove it was really her. Her brother, there was a crazy story about him taking a hot air balloon out of California to get to Mexico and crash into the ocean. One of the more popular myths was that the dad and son fled to the Ozarks, and the Bald Knobbers got him, which is a local band of renegades in the area at the time. But it was more likely than not that the sheriff, the marshal who hunted them down, his brother was killed by them, and his niece. The brother was a doctor. Niece was young. Mom had just died, and they were traveling. They stopped at the Bender Inn. And the reports say that they killed him and buried her alive on top of him. Of course, no one knew. So when the marshal came calling, obviously he's going to stop at the only stop along the road. He starts to suspect her, but he leaves. Now, the local story says that they immediately suspected that these guys were coming back for him, and this marshal wasn't going to arrest any of them. So they get in their wagon and they take off. But they catch up to them, kill them all, and bury them out in a field somewhere. Now, the only evidence that they had was a wagon that could have been theirs that was shot to hell. But what was the paranormal part about that, of course, is, she pitched herself as a witch doctor. She pitched herself as talking to spirits. Anything that she could do to make money and lure people to the inn, she did. If you've never heard of the Bender family, or it's more popular called the Bloody Benders, you should check it out. The first time I heard about them is when my family moved to Cherryvale, Kansas, and when I was in 4th grade, and my 4th grade teacher told me about her because she knew I was a little lonely, because I had just come from New Jersey where everything was busy to this tiny little town in Kansas. And she said, just down the road from where you live was the Bender Inn. And I got excited about that. So years later, I actually got to explore their story. I think the paranormal part was really fascinating to me, too, is that as you start to explore Kate Bender's psychosis, she really started to believe her own stories, that she could cure people and talk to spirits and things. And she would do seances to scare residents and things, but it also kept them in mind, right? Because she became this kind of infamous figure in town. So she leveraged the paranormal in a way to make her a little bit more famous. And then those stories about her trapping souls in this slab and these sorts of things really kind of add a little mystery and a little horror to the whole thing. I mean, bad enough that you're smashing people's heads in, but you're talking about at the same time as Little House on the Prairie. How do you justify that thought in your head when you see the popular myth of one thing and then you got something quite different happening? So yeah, I have delved into that. It's a little challenging to write about good paranormal stuff, because when I want to look at real stories and real situations, I want to get as much information as I can. And the paranormal just on the edge of what can you prove and what can't you prove.
Yep.
And that's the fun part, right? And that's where the imagination can go a little bit too far. And so a lot of cases, the stories about the Benders almost became myth in the area because of that sort of thing. And I'll give you a good example. It was popular to say in that part of Southeast Kansas that the final posse that kills all of the Benders was led by Pa Ingalls. But when I did the research, he was already north. He'd already left the area. But we were going to have our opening for the book, our first book sale, at Cherryville Public Library, where the myth was rampant. So my brother and I made a decision that we were going to contrive a reason for Pa Ingalls to come back to the homestead and have him at least be partially involved, if not completely involved, in that he was at least there for some time. So we open the book with him praying about the horrible things that he's seen. And then we flash back to the story, and he kind of plays on the outskirts of it. But it was a good way for us to have an everyman that everybody can look into, because you start getting into murder and mayhem, and you're burying bodies, and you've got this witch doctor who's trapping souls, and it gets a little crazy when you want to say that this is a true story. And so I wanted to make sure we had something to ground it. Yeah. So I did that, and that's probably the only fictional part that I played with in the book.
I'm picturing a vigilante Michael Landon.
Right, exactly. It's a little hard to picture. Yeah.
Look here, short round, our half pint. Daddy's going away for a while, half pint.
There we go.
Turn him into Nicolas Cage when he leaves.
There was a popular Spotify series that came out a few years ago called Mediums, and I think they touched on that. I don't think it was a full episode, but when you said that, I've got to thinking like things were clicking. I've heard it somewhere. Of course, I'm all up in some shit like that, so it doesn't surprise me I heard it. But.
The first season of Supernatural, way back when, has an episode about the Bender's modern descendants.
I bet that might have been where it was, because I have seen.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
A long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Because hell, that show's been over for a while. And let it run forever.
Yeah, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan was on Walking Dead like 10 years after he was on Supernatural.
Right, exactly.
He was on season 5 of that and got killed. Or something.
Yeah, and those mountains in Kansas in Supernatural are something else.
Yeah, I mean, something must have happened seismically. Pretty outrageous. I mean, that must have been all like when, all the global warming happened.
Yeah, that's it.
Mountains.
So now you say you're republishing that book, bringing it back?
Yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
My brother.
You have a working title on it, or
it'll be Bloody Benders,
okay.
And it'll be my Michael Frizell and David Frizell, and we're working on repurposing some of the things. We've learned some new information since then, so I'm going to write some new information into the book. My brother, who is a graphic designer, he's done things for like bands like Avenged Sevenfold. He also draws at a company where he's drawn like fish for SeaWorld. So he is the first time he'd ever done sequential art where he had to tell a story instead of just covers. And so there are a couple pages where he's like, man, I could do that better. So he wants to redraw them. I'm like, you are a type A. I mean, he started out drawing that book doing cross hatching. And any of your listeners who know what that is where you're taking a pen and you're, instead of doing the black and black, you're just doing small little lines to give it texture. He did 3 pages like that, and he had to get new glasses. And I think he had problems with his back and his hands. He's like, okay, enough. And so he started doing it on the digital drawing with the pen on the screen. It was a little easier for him then to do layers and change things around and move when he made a mistake rather than happy accidents. He could make them on purpose and do stuff.
Yeah, so I was going to ask if we still use the drawing board like a lot of the old comic books did.
He will when he most artists that I work with don't. They're actually doing the digital stuff. Now the Tiger King book, not only did he do that one by hand, he did it with a magic marker. Like he did it with old-fashioned markers. He wanted those thick lines to feel cartoony and caricature, like you were going to the county fair and getting your picture done. That's what he wanted it to look like. So artists will change it up a lot, but digital helps them color a little faster too. We don't use AI art in any of this stuff. We don't do that. That's not good. I like the art.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm in a bunch of comic book creative groups, and that's kind of like I don't even know what the proper bad word would be for it, but bad.
Not good.
I mean, it's like voodoo. Yeah, it's less than not good. So,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, because that AI algorithm's taken from other artists and putting something together that looks good, except it's got an extra finger or something. Something weird going on.
Always 7 fingers.
Right? It's so weird.
You should see when I put in like draw pictures of Bigfoot, what it comes up with.
Like, I can't even imagine.
There's always a gorilla.
Oh, that makes sense.
Always, but I think it's learning from me because I put like Bigfoot because we were going to talk about Taylor Swift, so I said put Bigfoot and Taylor Swift in space, and it drew Taylor Swift in a Bigfoot in an astronaut flight suit floating in space, and I'm like, I almost want to use
Okay,
that.
now I hope my publisher doesn't hear this, because then he's going to be Michael Taylor and Bigfoot in space. That's the next one, right?
You got a Billie
Hey, you
Eilish
heard it here
movie.
first.
Billie
What was
Eilish
that?
book.
Yes, I do.
Hey, not for nothing, your Bender book's going for $200 on eBay.
Yeah, because it's out of print right now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That book was. I've got probably 4 or 5 copies left. What was cool about that book was that a publisher out of Arkansas, he and I got to talking, and he says, "Have you ever published like just chapter by chapter like that?" And I said, "Well, I work with another company where we do 22 pages at a time." He said, "Well, I want to pitch something to you." He said, "How about, to help you keep your brother on task to draw to a deadline, we publish each chapter in an issue of Saddlebag Dispatches, which was a Western themed magazine that they ran." Well, I did a little research, and they hadn't no one had ever done that since like the 40s, 50s, when Westerns were real popular. So I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And we were trying to make it look like an old Savage Sword of Conan book, where it had like the black and white art. It was kind of sketchy and, lots of action in it. We wanted it to look like Savage Sword. So I said, yes, we will do that. And the paper was like real rough. It was perfect. So we got every chapter got published in Saddlebag. Then every time we got 3 chapters, there were 7. So we got, well, let's see. How did he do that? He did 2 chapters in one issue, 2 in the next, and 3 in the final one. So we got 3 soft covers, and then we got a deluxe hardcover at the end of it. So I could put down 11 publications out of that. Wow. And I was like, sign me up. That was great. And we ran our contract for 3 years, had a good time, spoke at a lot of history organizations and things, just about the horror aspects of it, told the story, and then let it fold. And so we've sat on it for a couple years, and now we're reworking it to bring it back. So that's about as close as I've flirted around with paranormal stuff.
I say you haven't had any ghost adventures while writing any of this stuff, because sometimes it'll channel. I've heard from some authors they'll be writing about stuff, and then like boom, stuff will just start happening that they weren't prepared for. Have you ever had any experience like that?
Well, the Benders did use a hammer, and I did fall off a ladder with a hammer once. I mean, no, nothing like that. Nah, I kind of was somebody who actually was creating this stuff, saw something like that. I'd really like that, right? But there was a famous writer, science fiction writer, Whitley Strieber. You know who that is? Mm-hmm. He wrote a horror film called Wolfen. Mm-hmm. The novel was great. Strieber actually claimed that he had seen UFOs, and so he wrote a lot about that. His career did not take off after that.
No.
It did not.
But the weird thing about that is now it's almost like it's reversed, that everybody's having these experiences and things, which is, I think, so outside the norm.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Once it kind of gets into the public consciousness and starts to creep out there a little bit, maybe you're open to it more. Maybe your brain puts these pieces together that you're not sure about. I guess that's the fun part, right? That's the part that you get to explore and have a good time with.
Sure.
As a writer, that'd be the fun part.
Well, I was going to ask, do you know who Harry Turtledove is by any chance?
I do.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite authors, and I like the way he does the alternate history. And he's an actual history teacher and just pieces it all together. It's so great. So he's one of my favorite authors. So,
well, that's kind of what we did. Coming full circle, that Stormy book was that we did an alternate COVID. So whenever Trump at the time was suggesting all of these things, he had acolytes who were injecting themselves and drinking everything that he told them to do. And one of them, one of the pundits from Fox News, is living forever on a garbage planet that she runs, and she's like a Harley Quinn. She's lost her mind. She owns this whole giant planet of just rag people, and Stormy has to team up with her a couple times because she's nuts, and that she's the only way to break through the line that defense of Earth is like, what's this crazy girl going to do? and she is addicted to all of those chemicals that she had to take during COVID. So that's one of the characters who has this whole thread. In fact, I think I even killed Mitch McConnell in the book because he tried it and died. Yeah, which obviously that's an alternate timeline there.
Well, I don't know. They just tap him on the shoulder and his program resets. And
he's like an old Nintendo. He got to blow into the slot.
Oh, man.
Wake up, Mitch.
I'm still trying to figure out where they put the battery for Biden. He walks kind of funny. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, who's the gorilla Bigfoot character in Stormy Daniels' book?
That's Dax. Das is modeled after one of her bodyguards, actually. And we just wanted to have an alien-looking character. So he's kind of the weapons master on the ship. And her bodyguard throughout the series. Her best friend, her confidant.
Name is Das?
Das, yeah. We haven't, it's DAS. We haven't really defined what his full name is yet because I'd like to have an issue where we explore his home planet. And it's some long, ridiculous thing that no one else could pronounce. So that's kind of what I'm going for. But we didn't do anything with him yet.
That seems to be the alien trope, is if it's something crazy, you just call him like a syllable.
Exactly.
Or Roger.
Exactly. But I also believe that was her bodyguard's like nickname. So we just went with it. Yeah. Let's see. We've got that character. Oh, later on we have Sinbad show up, like from the Seventh Voyage, but he's in the future with his own starship, and he becomes kind of a love interest. I'm telling you, the book's nuts. It's absolutely bonkers. It's sometimes I have to just walk away from it for a few minutes and go, "What am I writing?" and then go back in and start over again.
Like a fever dream.
Sometimes, but you want to take it to the story where it's kind of fun. We did do I was just thinking another supernatural book was I took Bender and we put a superhero in a special issue of my publisher created a character called 10th Muse. And if for your listeners, 10th Muse was the 10th best selling comic by Image in the 90s. And she's basically one of, the Greek god muses. And she's on Earth protecting things. But in the comic series right now called Bold and Brave, she has an amulet that allows her to travel through time when the timeline gets broken. And he said, "How would you like to try something with superheroes and Bender?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So I have her become one of the, stuck in the past and dealing with the Benders. The interesting thing about it was I really leaned into the supernatural stuff on there. So the paranormal stuff becomes a lot more realistic for her, like a superhero fighting ghosts and things like that she couldn't because she's trying to get out of that basement. And so I did explore that a little bit. That's not a comfortable genre for me to write in because I like it to be a little more grounded. But because I knew the Bender story so well, I was able to parallel a lot of it and still make it make sense. So
kind of like the rules before you can break them kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what Turtle Dove does best, right? He knows the history.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
Like a fat, juicy Tarantino movie. Just screw up my history, please.
Exactly.
Kill the Mansons.
Pardon me.
What was it, Bobby? You were talking about time travelers. They've went to try and go back and kill Hitler, but there's a army protecting them and they can't do it. I can't remember It
is called Wiki History. It's a short story, and it's basically a forum for a time traveling company organization about how, hey, just got my time traveling license, went and killed Hitler. And the next entry is like, for 5 minutes later, 1941, just corrected so-and-so _ 420's attempt to kill Hitler again. For the love of God, stop killing Hitler. It is amazing. I've got it. It's right here on my tab because I'll read it. So it is funny. But I'll just read the first entry. Reporting my first temporal excursion since joining AITT. Have just returned from 1936 Berlin, having taken the place of one Leni Riefenstahl's cameraman and assassinated Adolf Hitler during the opening Olympic Games. Live, let a free world rejoice. The next one. Silver Fox 36. Back from 1936 Berlin, incapacitated freedom fighter 69 before he could pull his little stunt. It just goes. It starts quoting like chapters and verses of the laws and of the time travels. It's one of those things you got to read a bunch of them.
Right.
And like the one called "They're Made of Meat" about aliens talking about how humans are powerful, but they're made of meat as well. They're talking meat. They're seeing meat. They can talk. They're meat. They're just meat. They're made of meat. The whole thing. It's I got a warped mind. Those kind of things amuse me.
Well, so Michael, did you ever imagine growing up you'd be writing comic books, especially like this?
Oh, well, like this, maybe not, but I mean, you could probably see behind me. This is just, I'm in my comic room. When my wife and I bought this house, she wanted to make sure that I had a room for my comics. And on the other side of the wall are 3 lateral files. Each of them holds something close to 3,000 books or so, 4,000 books maybe. And then I've got a closet full of them. Second closet full. Behind me is hardcovers, and then I've got a shelf downstairs that's full of hardcover. 2 shelves downstairs full of hardcovers too. My wife is an English teacher at a local high school, and so between the 2 of us, we had so many books that when movers came and moved us to our house, they charged us an extra few $1,000s because we wore those boys out carrying these books up and down the second stories. Yeah, I've been buying comic books since Star Wars came out when I was in 4th grade. My dad brought #1 home from Marvel, and I was hooked. But even before that, I had read, like Warlock from Marvel. I didn't know what the hell I was reading. I was 2nd grade or 3rd grade, and here he's floating in space, fighting these glowing eyes. I'm like, what is happening? This is cool. But how is he breathing in space, and why is he wearing a loincloth? That's beside the point, right? And I started to get hooked on comics early age. And so now I make the weekly pilgrimage to the comic store. Every Wednesday, I'm one of the few first in line to get my fix and still buy quite a few titles. Still buying Star Wars. I have every one published.
Is there any new? Is there any comic books that still come out new that you get every week?
Oh,
in your little box in your box.
Yep, always. I've been a Spider-Man fan since the beginning, so I'll buy Spider-Man books. Oddly enough, and I know her movie didn't do well, but I like Captain Marvel. But when I was a kid, it was Ms. Marvel, and her first appearance came out the same year I was born. So I guess I got kind of addicted to her comics early on because she was like no other woman you'd ever seen. Of course, she used to fly around in a bathing suit with a sash, so it was a little bit different. I buy Captain Marvel, Batman. Ever since Michael Keaton played, I've been buying Batman books. But I like more the independent style books. So I buy a lot of mini series that are more horror based, science fiction stuff, anything by the publishers so I can get away from superhero stuff. I will say that Marvel's doing, though, an alien books based on the movies, and they've been great. They've been a lot of fun to read. I've not been big into things like Superman or Captain America or anything like that. That never interested me. X-Men did for a long time. I've kind of waned on them a little bit. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to wonder, what the hell am I going to do with all these books? My son is a chemist. He's like, I don't want any of that. My wife and I were actually talking about that earlier. It's like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? Because I've got statues and action figures all over this room, and I don't know. But yeah, I buy probably about 20 books a month, maybe more.
There's a public library going to open up a new wing when you kick it.
Maybe
the Frizell comic room. Frizell comic room.
Yeah, I'd hate that, but yeah, you're probably right. I don't even know what I'd do with it all.
Well, I started doing digital, even though I still prefer the feel. It's just the loyalist thing, but I started doing digital because the wife was like, yeah, the closet's full. What are you going to do? Because I had all the Transformer stuff. That was my big thing when I was a kid. That was, and so I had everything, and well, still do. But and now that the new Transformer, well, I've went back to buying the new Transformers now that it's under
Kirkman.
Oh gosh, Kirkman, yeah, because everything he touches is gold. So I was like, all right, well, I'm back in on the.
Yeah, I never got in on the whole Walking Dead comic until it was way too late to buy #1.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to take out a mortgage.
No,
I got 3 compendiums. But I don't
I've
have
got
the first one.
hardcover. Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm just looking around this room thinking, man, I don't even know if I want to move again.
Better invest.
Yeah.
let your kids do it. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can pay for your great grandkids' college with it. So
Maybe. I never bought for speculation. In the 90s, speculation was kind of rampant. That never really interested me that much. I just bought what I liked and just kept them. I've got full runs of X-Men going all the way back to when Byrne was doing it. I've got, I probably got Fantastic Four all the way back to when John Byrne was doing it too. X-Men stuff, Spider-Man. I've got so much Spider-Man that I think it would take up one of these full cabinets. Just amazing. Spider-Man was like, I was so addicted to that. I think I started with issue 100 or something. So I've got them all since then, and they're almost to 1,000 now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is. And
I mean,
well, it's addictive too.
$1,700 for this comic. Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
Walking Dead 1.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's low because it was a lot higher than that at one point. But now that the show's kind of waned a little bit.
I love the comics. It's so good.
Yeah. Shane's story is so different.
Yeah. It really,
yes.
It didn't last very long in the book.
No. I got real frustrated with the TV show. My wife and I were avid watchers all the way up to the point till they killed Carl.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm losing interest here. And then when Rick left, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lasted until Princess showed up with the pink jacket. I haven't watched since then.
Yeah. I don't even know. I know that they got a new one out with Rick in it. Thought about trying it, but I got other things to do.
The main character of The Walking Dead is Carl, and they killed him off.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? He's going to axe Luke Skywalker next?
Whoa,
wait.
Whoa. Slow down.
Put the gun down.
Mike, I'm glad that you dropped in. I'm sorry you couldn't get in the studio earlier.
It's okay. Who knows? I mean, that's why I messaged you. I figured you'd send me another link. We'd figure it out.
Yeah. It's we're just having fun here, just BSing. So where can everybody find your stuff? Do you have a website? Or?
Yeah, just go to you can go to tidalwavecomics.com, or you could go to Amazon and put in Michael Frizell, 1 Z 2 L's, not like the woman with the magic school bus. She's got 2 Z's, right?
It's Frizell.
Yeah, right. And you go there, you'll see all the comics that I've written, and most of them are still in print. Bender will be coming soon. My brother promises me he'll fire it up and start working again. And now that it's out of print and I keep talking about it, he's going to be like, okay, we better jump on it before somebody tries to beat us to the punch again. So anyway, Michael Frizell at Amazon, or you can go to Tidal Wave Comics.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you came in. I'll keep up with you, and because when Bender comes out, I'd like to have you back on. We can go over that again.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
It sounds fascinating. Fun. Yeah. Thanks for dropping in. Have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Bye. Now I got to find a button. There we go. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with some of that. I mean, that's crazy.
And he's got like a 5-star rating on Rating Professor, so he's a good person.
Of course he is. We wouldn't have him in if he wasn't. Well, that's questionable. I do have you. And
people see floating horses and dead fish.
Why'd you bring me into it?
Yeah. The quiet one. Why wouldn't I bring you into it?
Yeah, they're getting run. What are you doing back there?
It keeps freezing up. Like when you go to another tab. Like I'll know when you're surfing. Yeah, when you go to surf, I'll know when you go to another tab because it freezes right where you are. And then when you come back to the screen, you unfreeze. It's like every time you switch to a new tab or something, I notice it.
Well, daggum.
You probably zoomed in on Stormy Daniels.
That's what I was like. Up, he's got to freeze the screen so you can watch this.
Am I frozen now?
Daniels stuff. Yeah, you're frozen now.
Am I frozen now?
You're froze now. Now you're not froze.
I don't know. Streamlabs is
I just noticed it. It was weird. It was like when you would, I'd see you go down the rabbit hole, you would freeze up and say, okay, I was like, he must be another browser or something. So
that's weird. It's never happened before. I'm always in another browser.
Tonight I could tell. So tonight I could tell for sure. Like when you were reading something, you were froze, but I mean the audio was never bad or anything. As soon as you came right back to it, unfroze. So gremlins. They're rampant. Yeah, I enjoyed that interview. I wish we kind of I know here I read the stuff and was thinking about everything, and he opens the Stormy Daniels, and I'm like, the
one thing you didn't read.
I went down the hole. I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's a good hole to go down.
Where's the other guest?
I don't know. I resent her the link just in case. The one guy, John Holland, he had messaged me and said he had caught COVID or some kind of bug. So the creative team, the girl was going to come on. And I messaged her again on Facebook to make sure she had the link because I just chatted with her earlier. Okay, she says she's in the studio, but I don't see her, which is really odd.
That's where Streamlabs is messing up.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder. Because you've never froze up like that. And yeah, tonight's really weird. Yeah, you've never really froze up or done anything like that. Let me send it back to her. Make sure she opens it in Chrome or something, but
I was getting ready to bounce out as soon as she came on. I didn't want to leave you hanging.
No, you're cool. You're cool. I got Warren and I don't know. It's just so weird. It does that.
All right. I'm going to go. I got a physical in the morning. I probably won't get much caffeine until about 10, so I need to get all the sleep I can.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know that I can handle that. We'll see if she can get it worked out. If not, we'll reschedule her. I'll keep Warren if he wants to stay with me.
Yep.
But
oh, absolutely. Hey, young Colin, come call in.
Well, let's see if we can get the Shay on here first. But yeah, I enjoy doing these shows with the comic books because you never know what you're going to get. Like I would have never, when you said Stormy Daniels, I was like, "Ooh, done, shiny."
Well, I mean, I was just a country kid, so comic books was never my thing. But I mean, you're from a different generation too, so it's kind of, I mean, from what I've read on them, they were like pretty ahead of their time, especially for that period, right?
Yeah.
As far as sci-fi wise.
Yeah, let's see who we have here. Travis, can you see
guys.
us? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something weird tonight. The other guest, he was not able to get in. I had to resend him the link like 2 or 3 times. And then my other co-host, Bobby, it was coming in and going out with him. So I don't know. We'll blame it on the Russians. So
those dirty Russians.
Got to blame it on somebody. So how are you, Travis? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Me and Warren here are just kind of keeping the ship going. Oh, and Shay just joined here, so you won't be
okay.
alone.
There. Yeah, I was wondering
I can't hear anything.
Where she was. Check your audio settings. Let me text her real quick. Hang on, just.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, tonight has just been a really weird night. So. We see you. We hear you.
Say something.
I don't know. Something. Can
Awesome.
you hear us?
We're good. Yep.
All right. You're good. All right. Well, yeah, I was telling Travis and earlier. I don't know if you saw any of it, but my other co-host Bobby, screen was freezing up, and the other guest had trouble getting in the studio to send the link. It's the same link. I just had to send it 2 or 3 times. So I don't know. It's never done this before, so I apologize.
Hey man, that's no problem at all, man. It's just it's probably because of us. We're
And now things are freezing. Oh, there we go.
Now, are you
I
two
don't deny
close proximity wise, or?
In the other
yeah,
room.
we yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'm in Nebraska. She's in Montana. Okay, all right, cool.
All right, yeah.
All right, well, very good.
She's
So
about 10
tell us a
feet
little
that way.
bit. Well, you heard about the benders in the other comic book in front of you. You might be careful; she might come hit you in the head with a hammer. So.
Oh, okay. Well, geez,
Well,
that.
as long as
See here, her alibi's freezing up.
Yeah, she's freezing up for some reason.
yeah, it's freezing.
We'll get it straightened out. Okay, babe. Yeah, you were like freezing up.
Well, see, that's when she was telling her plot, so that was intentional. So.
Okay, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on, guys?
Oh, we're trying to endure the gremlins tonight, but we were just talking to Michael Frizell, and he was telling us about some of his work. I don't know if you got to see any of it. I actually had him on to talk about he's doing the work with like the Swifts, the Dolly Partons, and the female group. And he opened with Stormy Daniels, and once he opened that rabbit hole, I was gone. I totally lost.
Yeah. I've actually done some work for Tidal Wave. So yeah, I kind of know Michael and Darren.
It's great guys. Yeah, I just didn't. I apparently didn't research anything about Stormy Daniels, and when he opened with that, I was like, "Yep, I'm done. I got to hear this in Space Force, and Trump's head in a mason jar in 2030, still running the USA or the world." Or what. I was like, "Tell me more, please. Tell me more."
Sure, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's one of the big pluses about doing this type of stuff, man. Is like all the crazy stories you get told.
Yeah.
No, what I was wanting to know was what was the comic the other gentleman that was with you all was talking about with the time travel and trying to go back in time and kill Hitler, and they had to keep redoing it so that he didn't do it.
Oh, you're talking about Bobby. He is it's apparently it's a website. I'll have to ask him. And they go in and it's like an ongoing blog where somebody will put in, went back 20, 30 to try to kill him, and then somebody writes another story right behind it.
Oh,
so
yeah. I was like, I got to check that out.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, because we've had people on here talk about time travel, and Bobby always brings that up as a joke. Goes, "Oh, well, you can't kill Hitler." And we're like, "What? Why can't you?" And then he'll come up with that. But yeah, go over. You can message him at bobbydizzle.com. He had to go early tonight, so otherwise, I'm sure he would love to tell you all about it. Tell us about your book. I talked to Shay earlier. I didn't really get a chance to talk to you, and so tell me about it.
He's the one to tell y'all about all that.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Okay, either one.
Okay, sure, yeah. Did John send you the link to the Kickstarter?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Okay, cool. So you kind of can see it and sort of know what I'm talking about. The book is called Death Reign Gehenna, and it's by myself. I'm penciling and inking it and co-plotting it, and John Holland is writing it, and Javi LaPera is coloring it, and Leo McGovern is lettering it, and Cheyenne here is she's the marketing behind it, and then Bradley Golden is editor. So that's our little team there, and it's like a return to like 90s Image Comics type of thing. I've always loved that. That's when I first got into comics, when I was like in high school, middle school, and I just, Tom McFarlane and Del Keown and Spawn and the Pit and Cyberforce and Mark Silvestri and all that. And it's I've always loved that stuff, and there's been a big absence of that for like a while, especially like in mainstream comics. So we just wanted to bring back like a big premium looking book that was just cool and fun. It takes place in this world called Gehenna, which is sort of like it's a Lovecraftian. Gehenna in the Bible is a word that's used for hell in the New Testament, and the world that we created is people are getting sucked up. Different people, different sections of the Earth and other planets and things are all getting pulled into this realm. It has really no time or no substance. The buildings are possessed, and it's just an evil place. And we follow our heroes, Jericho Black, Allison, and Steve, the Apocalypse of the Machine of the Apocalypse. Death Machine of the Apocalypse. As they try to find out what exactly is going on, find the big bad that's doing all this while protecting some people that come in, are brought in by, there's this big Cthulhu Lovecraftian demon that's sort of the big bad behind all this, and he's bringing in some people. You kind of have a choice when you get there. You can join with him, or you can be one of the survivors. So it's sort of like a bit of like a Walking Dead type of thing, where there's like cities and things that they've built where they've cordoned off, and survivors are safe there. And it's Jericho and his team's job to go out and find them and separate like the good from the bad, and bring the good into these survivor camps and root out the bad. And like I said, try to figure out what exactly is going on here, because nobody really knows for sure. All the characters kind of have troubled pasts. Jericho specifically, like nobody really knows what his past is. It's tied to some medieval stuff, because in Gehenna, time doesn't really exist, right? And it's always shifting and moving, and you can walk through one door inside of a house and just go to another room, and you can walk through a second door and come out on a World War I battlefield. And it's the world is constantly changing and shifting and moving, and it's just really a platform that we can tell any type of story from any time frame. It's just like a vehicle to kind of just get crazy with this. We're kind of looking at Grant Morrison and Sandman, Neil Gaiman for that type of crazy story stuff, where we can just throw anything in there and just create a fun book, just a fun, entertaining book, hopefully with some really good art, and just something you can read and just kind of forget about your problems for a little while and just enjoy it.
I think that's what a lot of it's about. So you do the art, you don't do the writing, you do the drawing. Did I hear that right? Or you do both?
Yeah. I do all the line work, the pencils and inks.
Okay.
And I co-plot it along with John. John actually sits down and writes it, but I kind of like give him a direction to kind of go in, and then John sits down and like fleshes that out into like a full story.
Okay. Now, are you old school pen and paper, or are you doing the digital thing now?
I do both. I do a lot of my work digitally. For this, people tend to like my pencils, so we decided to do like a unwrapped edition, like kind of like how DC does, with it just showing like the pencils alone, with like all the word balloons and things. So that's an option on the Kickstarter. So I'm penciling all of this traditionally on paper, and then I ink it digitally. Okay,
that's cool. Yeah, I always ask because as a kid I was given I can't remember the issue number. Well, actually, Spectacular Spider-Man 176. I was given the page art for it, and I had it framed as a kid. Yeah, and it's still somewhere in my house here. Obviously, once you get older, your kids seem to rule your life, so I don't have it hanging up anymore. But
for sure,
so that's I always ask because I loved that. I didn't know that was a thing until somebody gave that to me, and I was like, I was on a quest, and so I found a few more, but. A lot of times now nobody does that, so the digital take is taken over. It's more forgiving, but
and it's also, if you can get into a good workflow, there's especially when you get into inking, penciling is a little easier on paper because, you know, you can erase it and stuff when you get into inking. When you're on paper, when you throw a bad line, you just threw a bad line, and you can get halfway, you know, done with like a piece and then screw up something, and you try to salvage it, and sometimes you can't. You just got to rip it up and start all over again. Digital, that's just not an issue. And it's I've had assignments. I was doing a book with Bo Smith. I don't know if you know who he is. Winona Earp.
Okay.
Him and Tim Razan from the show plays Doc Holliday, and it's a book called
Agents of Danger.
Yes, Apocalypse, Agents of Danger. It's like an old school 50s like fun like a team story.
And kind of like an Archie. Is it?
Yeah, sort of like the A-Team, but like in the 50s, right?
Okay.
I did all of that like digitally, and there was pages that is like, oh, this looks too dark, and like, you know, this is like a wintry scene, and you went into too dark with it. And if I would have had to have like fixed that traditionally, that would have been a nightmare. But I fixed it in like 15 minutes digitally, so it's, you know, it's a big time saver, and it's very forgiving. It's very, very forgiving. And there's just things in digital you just really can't do traditionally, like the lasso tools and things, and you can move stuff around and resize things, and you can kind of do it traditionally, but not really.
Yeah, well, I think it's a different type of creativity, I guess, in its own sense too. So, but I think I'm like you. I kind of like the old school wing, but look at my age. So, so you told me at the beginning of this you'd already done some stuff for Tidal Wave in the past, or?
Yeah, I did some covers, and their female force line. I did the pencils and half the inks on the AOC female force book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I've also done work for IDW and Action Lab Entertainment. And
that was my next question. Yeah, what I've from talking to people, you hear they, I don't want to use the word bounce, but they move around. It's contract, and we've learned so much after COVID too now. So,
sure, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, being like a freelance artist, you just got to go where the work is. So that's, you know, you work here for a little bit, then that job runs out, then you go find another job over here, and then that one, then over there, and then that one. So that's just the life of the artist.
Well, yeah, but now you're doing your own storyline, so
yeah, that's what we were trying to do here. Was like everybody kind of wanted to start doing their own thing, and, you know, start you know, with Kickstarters and crowdfunding and all that. I mean, I know a number of people that do very well with it, you know, that make a fair bit on it, and they're able to, you know, make a full-time living off of that. So we figured, hey, you know, give it a shot and start doing our own thing.
It was very much too about finding the right group of people, because, you know, I think a lot of us were like, you know, this is what we want to do, and this is what we've been wanting to do. And there are all these other people wanting to do that too, but finally coming together and finding the right group of people of like, well, you bring this and you bring this and you bring this. So then we're all of our bases were covered. That was a very tedious process, I guess. And then now we're here where we are. So we've got a really good group of people.
Yeah, that's an important thing, is finding the right group of people they all make sure that they sync well and get along and whatnot.
Yes. Well, I was telling, I'm sorry if I didn't tell you or did tell you this earlier. I thought I was telling you, we in the podcast here, we've grown so quickly, fast, that we weren't expecting it. Like you, finding the right group of people, I think, makes a huge difference. I know Warren's up there silent because he's out of his element with the comic book stuff tonight, but
don't worry, I kind of get you there.
But it was a matter of you just put the people together and it's taking off, and I love it. I love my team. I love my crew. And if I never had to work a day again in my life, this would be the perfect thing to do.
Yeah. That's something. I mean,
I think too, though, what it has been is, not even on necessarily, it's everybody having that want for each other to succeed, and us all being able to bring each other on that success that we have.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't really know much of anything about comics before I met Travis, but like, it's very much, we've found our little family of people, and we're going to do whatever we can to get whatever we can for each other to help our little family.
Yeah, to sort of make this happen. And like you were saying, like if you ever had to go back to working like a full-time job or something like that, there's something about, like I've gotten some gigs, that I was really happy about, right? And but ultimately, at the end of the day, there's nothing like working on your own thing, like building your own thing. And I'm sure with building your own podcast and all that, I mean, I'm sure, it's like a labor of love. Like you just, whenever you see people that are enjoying it and that you're getting really good feedback and it's like, yeah, man, I'm excited to read this, or in your case, I'm waiting for the next episode, man. Let's who are you having on like this week? I'm sure that just, it just pushes you to work even harder, to make it better.
Yeah. People have no idea when you do put your sweat equity into it, what it means. And it's rewarding to see it grow, whether it's by subscriptions or fans following you or views, likes, whatever. It makes your life more enjoyable, makes your life better. Plus I like to think we're helping other people occasionally. So we have a show where we pretty much just make fun of each other. Like we vent all the crap we've been through during the week. And on Saturday, and you guys are welcome too. I invite all my guests to it on Saturdays. We'll pop a top on a cold drink and we will bitch about whatever we thought about during the week and just get it out in the air to the public. And the public joins in, and it's great. It's, I've actually made friends from it. So it's kind of cool. And I like that creativity. And it is kind of outside the normal for a podcast to do stuff like that. Most podcasts just don't invite break that fourth wall. And the other thing that I like to do is we call ourselves, I'm a paramedic. So that's where the para came from. When I originally started this, the idea was to have one guy who believed in everything. There's a guy who believes in ghosts. There's a guy who believes in Bigfoot, whatever. And then the other guy's like, okay, you're crazy. So and have guests on to offset each other so that basically we could have an inner argument or listen to your story. And I got to thinking about that. I said, well, that's great. But there's so much other potential for things out there. Like, I'm going to throw the question at you guys here in a second. You come on, you talk about your book. We love it. I researched it. Unfortunately, due to every week I have to read something new, I don't get to finish every one of them until like a month or two later. So you'll get an email from me like, hey, I need to talk to you. I got a question. But where's I going with this? Oh, the thing I like now is like I'm having you guys, you're selling your stuff, you're doing your pitch, whatever. I'm going to ask each of you, have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Fuck yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, there you go.
Exactly. And that's what makes the show so great. We had, I don't know if you follow sports any, but we had she's ranked 14th in the world, flyweight fighter, Miranda Maverick. And we've had her on several times now. I love her to death. And she had us hooked on this story. I mean, we were like, I'm like leaning in, going. She jerked her chain. Well, she didn't. It was her dad when she was a kid outside their tent, scaring the crap out. But the way she told the story, And she said later on, she goes, ESPN don't ask me about this crap. I'm like, you're not on ESPN. I don't ask you to come on.
Doesn't give a shit.
Exactly. I ask you to come on and tell you, I want to hear those things because it's cool, but then I want to hear the fun stuff. And so that's my little hook and why it's now we're more or less the pair are normal. It used to be one of us was normal and the other one was sort of normal, but now none of us.
Everybody's just screwed.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Cheyenne, according to the comments, you've got something behind you on your shelf.
No shit.
Okay, I missed that. I'm
Which
tough.
side?
All right. Well, one of the people in the chat, one of the chat people is also a psychic, so God knows. So.
Okay. I didn't know. It's like something on her.
That's probably what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brenda said she was. It's funny you had that. That's from Thing, right?
Yeah, that's from. That's the one from Wednesday. I got it off Temu. It holds pins.
We had a guy on my other show where we talk about public safety stuff. So he made these little holders for coins because a lot of firemen, paramedics, cops will carry a coin in their pocket for good luck, kind of like a worry stone. Sure. And he makes little leather pouches for them. And so at the end of the thing, I asked him, I was like, I run the paranormal show. You ever make anything weird? Warren, I swear to God, this thing looked straight like it was out of a body. He made a hand out of leather.
That was the guy on a Granite Guardian game, right?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. It was like this big, and he made it completely out of leather. Left field. Never saw that coming. I'm like,
had Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes to it. It really did.
Oh, I can imagine.
I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like I said, you never know what people. I would have never expected that from a cop. You know what I'm saying?
So, people surprise you.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
I've got this, but I'm not going to tell you where I got
it. The reality of being a paramedic or a firefighter out in the field, you see some crazy stuff every now and then too. So.
Oh, I would imagine you do, yeah.
But but my job is not to talk about me. What's that?
I said a naked crackhead or two.
Oh, that's like Wednesday. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's Wednesday. So, the worst one, the craziest one I ever saw was this lady chanting something. She was dressed, and she literally from a loft climbed and walked the ceiling above me. Literally. And I'm like,
get the holy water, Glenn. Get the holy water.
I looked at my partner and I'm like, this is a police matter. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not a priest, so.
And even if it wasn't a police matter, I'm still out.
Yeah, so I have no idea what that was about, but yeah, you do occasionally see weird things. So.
Okay, you in here, honey. I'm gone.
There's not enough drugs in the ambulance for me.
Nope.
So either one of you, whoever wants to go first, let's hear some of your paranormal stuff. And has any of that translated into your work too, by the way?
You want to take this first, or?
Well, I'll let you go first because I know mine, but you go ahead with you first.
Okay.
It's all about you.
Well,
I'll give it time.
Okay. She's the one that's like, she's like crazy into this stuff. Like she was dying to get on this podcast tonight. She loves this stuff. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the horror thing, like my thing has always been horror. I love reading about it and listening to urban legends and folklore and stuff. It gives you a lot of good story ideas and things. There was, I've had a few odd things happen here and there. I don't know if I would necessarily call it supernatural, but one story that I will tell was, it didn't happen to me. It happened to, I heard it ever since I was a kid, from my grandmother. On her farm, there was a there was like this field that they used to call the Flats, and it actually had some like native burial mounds there. And whenever I was younger, my cousins and I, we'd all go down there and play and whatnot, and we were always warned, like, don't mess with the mounds, right? Like, bad things. They wouldn't get too specific about it, but it was just like bad things will happen if you mess with that. So don't mess with them. But I mean, we'd go down there and play and stuff, and we would find arrowheads occasionally and different things. And there was a story that I was told ever since I was can remember. Back in the 30s, my great uncle Jake, who I never met, he died far before I was born. There was what they called the main house, because it was kind of like a little town. There were so many buildings around, different barns and things. There was the main house, and they would on Saturday nights they would stay up there and drink and play cards and poker and such. And Jake had this cabin. You could still, like, whenever I was younger and we used to go down there, you could still see like the remnants of it that he lived in down there. And he one morning around like 3 a.m. they were up there playing cards, and he got tired, and he was like, well, I'm gonna head home. So back then, like, he rode a horse down, because it's the route down to the Flats is a little rough. Like, it's if you aren't watching your step, you could easily like fall and hurt yourself. So he jumped on his horse, and it was what they call a hunter's moon. Like, it was a real bright moon out, like almost where you could almost like see like daylight. And he went trotting down to it's about a half a mile, and about a third of the way down, he started hearing something behind him. Like, it was something that was like he could hear leaves crunching and twigs breaking and things. And he would stop, and whenever he would stop, whatever was behind him would stop. And he would pick back up and start riding, and it would start following him. And he could hear it picking up its pace, and he could hear it breathing. So it went from being to a trot to like full gallop. And he looked behind him, and he said whatever it was like solid black. It was like a void. Like, it was like light didn't reflect off of it.
Wouldn't penetrate.
Yeah. And Jake always carried a 38 special pistol, 9 shots. And he said, like, as he was galloping, his horse was a Clydesdale. So I mean, it was pretty powerful. And he headed up at the like full gallop, and he was taking off down through there. And this thing was keeping up with him, and not only was it keeping up with him, it was gaining on him. And he looked back, and he could see what he said were eyes, but they weren't eyes. That's the only way that he could describe it. It's like they were like orbs or something. So he pulled out his 38 at point blank range and emptied the whole gun into it, and it didn't even flinch. So there's this little creek that you have to cross called Fine's Branch, and it's like really small. So they were like, you have to cross that to get to his cabin, and he was galloping so hard that he just leaps the creek, and there's like a little hill on the other side of it. So he like leaped the creek and like went up the hill, and when he got to the top of the hill, he realized he couldn't hear it anymore. So he turned around and was looking, and whatever this thing was at the other end, or the other side of the creek. And I was down. I used to go down there all the time. It's a very small. You could easily just walk through it. It's not a big deal. But it wouldn't cross the creek. He said it stood there, and it would just pace back and forth from like left to the right. And
that's a wraith, right?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a wraith, right? Become wraiths.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what it was, but whatever it was wouldn't cross the water. And so he looked at it for a little bit, and it wouldn't. It seemed like it was agitated. It was angry, but it wouldn't cross the water. And he took off to his cabin, and he went back the next day, thinking it was a bear. Like his imagination got away with him or something. And there are bears around that area. I mean, there are grizzlies and black bears, but he couldn't find any track. But as far as I understand it, Native American legends say that evil spirits can't cross water. It's like a pure element or something like that. Something to that effect. But yeah, I heard that story for ages, and I don't know how true it is, but like myself and my cousins and everybody, like growing up, like we always heard that story, and we always were told, like, don't be out there too late, and don't be around the Indian or like the Native American like burial grounds. Don't be around.
The boogeyman will get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and well, even when I grew up, there was a monster. I grew up just outside of Washington, D.C. There's a monster. And he said, "Don't go outside. The boogeyman will get you." And it was called the Mount Vernon Monster. You know, we always thought as kids. As we got older, found out that it was a Bigfoot. I mean, there was some truth to the local, don't go out, the boogeyman will get you thing. And so, I mean, I think that's what, besides for the fact that I'm a comic book geek and nerd and stuff like that, I think that's what kind of got me into all the paranormal stuff, was growing up and having a story like that, and then actually experiencing it, thinking later on, as I got a little bit older, I'm like, there's nothing to this story, Oh, holy crap, there's really a monster in the woods.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah.
See, for me, it would be like piss my pants, freak out, and then, holy shit, it's real.
Just pretty much.
Did you actually see it?
Yeah, there was 3 of us, and we actually saw it. One of us froze. I ran like the little bitch. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, it happened. There's witnesses. And then my other friend totally, my other friend totally like had a space moment. Like, he's like, what happened? What is this? What's going on? So 3 of us, same place, same time, 3 different.
Just push that one. He can be the sacrifice. You.
Yeah, push the fat one. Push him.
That's
There's
right.
more of him to eat. Leave him. It's fine.
The one guy, he was wearing a flannel shirt, and I referred to him later when we were talking about this as the flannel wall, because every which way I ran to get away from that son of a bitch, he was standing there, stopped, staring, and I couldn't. I would just run into him. It's like, what is going on here? It was a really weird experience. But that, it's funny how just 2 minutes of your childhood, well, I won't say 2 minutes, but your childhood or your past really forms a lot of character and way the things you see things, and it's crazy. And the people you meet, and that's the coolest part of this job.
It's funny for me, because for me, where like down from where I'm from is closer to Point Pleasant. So
refresh me again. What state is this? I'm sorry.
West Virginia.
Okay.
So all of my cryptid paranormal stuff started with Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was growing up, our neighbor was like, "Hey, come here, I got a really cool book for you. I think you'll really like." And he gives me a copy of the Mothman Prophecies and Behind the Red Eyes, that was done by Jeff Wamsley, who we later got to meet.
Oh, nice.
And it was all like the original interviews with all the people who claimed to have the sightings or the interactions or anything like that. So we went down there to the TNT area.
Yeah.
And it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah. Now, that's one thing I will say as far as like paranormal things go, is Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Man, that is a creepy ass town, and
It's
I
like
don't know
you
why.
stay on this half of town, you're good. You go to this half of town,
Wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
it's just there's an aura around the town of just. I think we were standing because we'll go stop at random cemeteries and just see what. It's like, oh, cool! This was the oldest shit.
Yeah, I'm the dude that likes to go walk around in cemeteries to see like how old, like the.
So we're hanging out at a cemetery beside an AutoZone.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, there is. There's.
And we were just like, I don't know what it is, but it is particularly unsettling here today. And we were just like, fuck it, we're gonna go find where the TNT area is. And you eventually get to, it's almost like the outskirts of Point Pleasant, of a road that you have to turn down by a Christmas tree farm. And it pissed me off because growing up, we would go to that Christmas tree farm to get Christmas trees. And I'm like, and this shit was right behind the Christmas tree farm. And I didn't fucking know it. And so we spent, I don't know how long going down there, because it was just this straight stretch of road that every so often would have little turn-ins. But you had to find just the right one and hop over the guardrail to just go out the path. And there were the 3 bunkers. And when we had originally first started going down there, I think in like 2013, we had went to one of the little shops down on like the main street, and they were like showing us pictures that they had taken down there. And it was creepy as. And then
that town. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the farther you go out, like the second one, I think that was the one that was less grown up, but you couldn't open the door to it, because the first one, the door was open. You could go inside that bunker and walk around. Second one, you couldn't open the door. And then the third one was so overgrown and you couldn't open the door, and you're just like, I don't think I'd want to. I'm good. And then this ass goes off down the path. But like, I'm just going to see what's going out here. And I'm just like, well, stay where I can see you, because I don't know what the fuck is out here. And no, he just keeps going. And I'm like, where are you going? I can't see you. And just, no, just don't answer me. That's fine.
That's what I've done.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
And you would have got the same boot to the ass when he came back.
I started messing with her. I'd be like,
now then I'm gonna start taking shoes off and throwing shit, and gonna get real ghetto real fast.
You were raised right. Mama hit you with a flip flop. I'm clear on this. I'm clear on this.
I'm fine. I don't care if it's the chapstick. I'm gonna just start throwing whatever the fuck I got.
Have you not seen Return of the Living Dead? Like, that's how that starts. You're in a cemetery.
Oh yeah.
Cemeteries.
Return of the Living Dead is like one of my absolute favorite movies. Yeah. That's how it starts.
Yeah, you don't go touching stupid shit.
That town is like generally seriously creepy. I mean, it's like we kind of make it our business to go to creepy joints, and like we've been to haunted cemeteries and haunted houses and haunted asylums and all that. And there's just something about, you have to cross a bridge. It was the replacement bridge they built when the Silver Bridge fell in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And there's something about it every time we go over that bridge. Sometimes you feel it a lot, sometimes you feel it a little, but it's like this.
Like you're going through a force field that's just of like.
Yeah, it's just like whenever you cross on the other side of that bridge, it just feels like there's just like a weight on you or something. Like you can't really relax. You can't really.
The town carries a weight to it.
Yeah, it does.
Now,
and like
have
when
either of you been told you're empaths by any chance? I kind of said
no.
she is. You're a hard read here, so.
I don't.
You know what an empath is?
No.
Somebody's more sensitive to the things. Or you?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, but it's just bizarre, like, that whole place. I mean, yeah.
Like we would just take random trips down there, and we went down. I don't even remember where we got the information to the place, but they have a farm museum down there. And
that is a creepy joint, man.
So it looks like maybe if it were, because it is but isn't a tourist town, so it would seem like maybe during the summer, if there were more people around, it would make sense. But it was weird because it was just us. But they have like these different little outbuildings. Like this was showing you like what the dentist office looked like back whenever the fuck it was.
What they had actually done.
This building of taxidermied animals.
Yeah. Well, what they had actually done, they built this huge, like brick taxidermy joint, and there was some kind of great white hunter from around there that went all around, like in the 1800s, like in the early 20th century, that had went around all over the world and shot a ton of different animals and had them all stuffed, and it was like
bring them back to Point Pleasant.
Yeah. And so like that's weird. There's like two buildings, and you like walk in one, and it's got like it's really nice. It's carpeted. It looks like like a high school or something. But there's like all these different guns. There's like there's probably 100 or 150 guns that are in all these display cases, from shotguns to rifles to pistols, of all these guns that this guy had and all he used to shoot and there's all kinds of exotic animals from all around the world.
There's like a
stuff there.
Two-headed goat in some shit.
Yeah, okay. Then that's like the nice place, right? And then behind that, there's like this old shack that looks like it's out of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And you like walk into it, and like here's just a bunch of like the guy that taxidermied all this stuff.
In this creepy dentist chair.
Yeah, it was like he.
Fuck, man.
it was like all the leftover stuff that he just had, and it's like they were looking at it like, oh, look at how creative he was. Like, man, this is like some Norman Bates shit right here, man. Like he would take parts of different animals.
The way the whole place was set up was so weird, because like there was where you could go up and park, and they had a really big main building, which looked like, I think when we walked in, there were like 2 or 3 people in there, and then just they were gone.
Yeah, and
it was like
you open the door, they could get out.
Yeah.
I think they're like, oh fuck, there's people here.
What they had actually done is like when they were rebuilding, or as they were updating Point Pleasant, their historical society wanted to keep the building, so they literally like lifted the buildings up and put them on the back of like trucks, and then drove them out to this place and just set them around. Like this was,
and it was
like the original post office.
A weird circle. Okay. And I'm like, oh, they've got animals. Let's go look at the animals. They were all scared shitless. We walked in there. They were just like, no, we don't.
Yeah, there were horses and goats. They were generally, and there was this giant flock of birds that just followed us the entire time.
Out past the animals, if you walked around the little stall thing, there was a big field that those birds just kept flocking to one spot, and I'm like,
that's where they're going to put you.
I was like, Jeepers Creepers is going to come popping out of all that tall ass grass. And
but babe, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Well, it was just kind of like, well, we'll keep looking.
Listen, Travis, that's when you get in the car and you're like, it won't start.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did. Like, it was just sort of point, like, let's get the hell out of here.
Well, and it was like, it was okay to a point when it was just the two of us after those other random people left. But then as we were nearing the end, here is this one lady, and I'm like, nope. Don't know where the fuck she came from, but we are out. We are gone. We are going.
The thing that got me was like when we went into the like the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre texturing place, is they looked at it like this guy was being creative, but it was like he took a bunch of different like animals, like carcasses, and like stitched them together. Like there was like
like some Dr. Montgomery American.
That's some Ed Gein type stuff.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. It was.
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
with
like,
you there.
It was like he took like a beaver and put like antlers on it, and like it had like red eyes that he painted like yellow pupils on, and it had like a gator's tail. And it was just like a whole bunch of, like, he just grabbed a bunch of random shit of like different
welcome to the
sewed them up together.
Cult of Point Pleasant.
And I mean, and they looked at it like it was creative. Like look,
like, no, fuck y'all, it's creepy as shit. Getting the hell out of here. Yeah. We're gonna look in the paper tomorrow, and somebody's gonna be dead.
I hope you don't mind the language, but.
No. No. We're actually we're free to do what we want, and later on we can filter it out if they choose to. Okay. I was listening to WDJY one night, actually, so it was one of the other guys I work with, and they apparently forgot the bleep button. It's like a whole series of like, woo, I'm not paying that FCC fine. I signed a contract. They have a button. I got one, but I never push the damn thing.
You might as well just hold it down the whole time.
Well, I
discovered
that I think people who cuss, not only I think are they more creative, but I feel closer to them because it's like, all right, I don't have to be in my garden and be like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
Warren, he's just weak, but I think
when you can just let loose and you're not having to like, you can just talk like out of your head. You're not having to like filter the words before they come out of your mouth. It makes for a much more interesting conversation, and I feel closer to people that can do that as well.
It's
somebody
like I said,
outside the box here. He just wrote fuck,
that's
fuck,
Brenda.
Shit, damn it.
Yeah. She was one of my former co-hosts. She drops in every now and then. And, I love to make fun of her. She's only got one leg, so she's my favorite cripple. So
there you go.
But,
so, I get them all out of there. Bobby gets, before you were here, Bobby was on. He gets the PETA people. I usually get the ADA people for making fun of Brenda, but she hops, she leans.
I won't make any jokes.
By all means, we encourage it.
Brenda's got a great sense of humor. Right? I love her to death. She knows I don't mean any harm by it. But we fight like cats and dogs. One of our best episodes was me telling her to shut the fuck up, and she just used
And that's just
like we were married.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's a TikTok moment. She hates it, but it's a great TikTok video if you happen to see it on the show.
Have y'all been to Centralia?
She swims in circles.
To what word?
Oh, have they been to Centralia? I mean, you're from that part of the world.
No, I have been wanting to go there, but somebody won't let me.
Where?
I wonder who that is.
Yeah, I wonder who it is too.
Where are we not going?
The Silent Hill place up in Pennsylvania, where there's like somebody won't let me. Yeah. I've been wanting to go there for years.
Get the battery in your own car, and you can go yourself.
Is it Shay or Cheyenne? I've heard him call you Cheyenne. I don't want to offend you. Is it Shay or is it?
I go by either. Our work friends call me Shay. My name is Cheyenne, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I'm Glenn, but Sportcat is how I got pinned down. So are you afraid of the paranormal, or have you had experiences?
No. So it's one of those, like, I don't know how I'm going to react until I'm there. Because, like, we went to Weston, and I'm just, like, right up in front with my camera. Like,
just in case they don't know, Weston is the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Okay, I didn't know what you guys
the lunatic asylum.
Okay, my neighbors. All right.
So I'm like pushing these motherfuckers out of the way to get up to the front because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see something. And it wasn't that bad. We didn't do one of like the overnight tours or anything. In that case, I might have been a little. I don't handle the dark well. But so they were like, hey, we've brought I don't know how many people up here, and they can't last more than 20 seconds in this room. And I was like, I'll do it for a minute. Put me in there. And they're talking about the type of experiences that people have. And so I'm just standing there, and I've got my phone up, and I'm like, I'm timing it. And then, like, literally around my wrist, it just starts feeling like somebody is squeezing both my wrists. Where I'm standing in the room, I'm like, all right, well, come on. Because it showed the points on the walls where they would have the chains for the arms and for the legs. And I didn't really feel it on my ankles, but on both my wrists, it felt like somebody was just squeezing. And I was like, okay, I got it. I'm good.
I'd crack a joke, not my type.
I was like, guys. And then I poked my head out the door, and they done left me in the room and walked on. And I'm like, fuck y'all. I had a ghostly experience, and y'all missed it.
Well, maybe other people were trying to have their ghostly experiences.
Well,
they didn't have time for yours.
Into the room for a minute and felt the ghostly shit, but they didn't.
Yeah, I could foresee a segment with you two coming on with us doing this. So, are you two married by any chance, or?
We're engaged.
We've been together for almost 12 years.
Okay. Well, it's not my business. I'm just saying that the way you go back and forth is great.
So what's this?
This is every day.
This is.
I can talk my wife into coming in here.
This is just Tuesday for us, so it's.
Yeah.
All right. So you said the Western, right? You get something squeezed in the room.
It was my wrist. Like, it felt like somebody had taken me by the wrist and was.
Oh, something. Oh, okay, like something else squeezed.
Yeah. That's not it.
Where are you going to find it? And here's the thing.
I'm trying to be serious about my ghostly experience because it was important to me.
And we had to go turn it all dirty.
House.
It's not time for making dick jokes yet.
Okay.
Anytime you get
5 more minutes.
Fair.
Well, it's
I'll
true.
take it.
Okay.
I grew up in a haunted house, so I don't do the spirits and stuff. I mean, I do. One of the shows here recently, something was started pulling my hair straight up, and I saw like zoomed in, and they're all like, "I'm like, you see this? Get this shit off of my head. I don't know what this is, but get it off." It's one of the co-hosts. She's like, "Oh yeah, I see it." And I'm like, "Stop!" And then it would put its finger in my ear. I'm like. So I don't do spirit things, even though I do spirit things. No, I didn't like that. I always go out and look for the big furry creatures in the woods. That's my gig. That's my role. But I always joke, and to get back to what he was making fun of you, I'll be the first one to find and have Bigfoot, but it'll be the gay Bigfoot, and I won't be able to tell a damn soul. So,
a gay Bigfoot? Well, I mean,
that's right. I'll be like. I can tell you they exist, but that's it.
You really have to think though and weigh your options.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying, like if you found like a big gay Bigfoot, you could write.
You could the gay Bigfoot experience, or keep that dignity.
There's a huge crowd for that though.
You could write a book called Glenn and the furry creatures in the woods, the gay Bigfoot experience, being adapted into a movie.
But the cover is
starring Stormy Daniels.
I was gonna say, Travis, can you draw it for me because I got.
Oh yeah, man, yeah, I'll jump right on that furry shit, man. See some man-on-man Bigfoot love.
You just have to have a ridiculously hairy chest.
Yeah.
Pressed up against the hairy Bigfoot chest.
Yeah, and you have to just tell me, are you like
I
top
don't
or
even
bottom?
know it. I don't even know it. I don't even know what the breasticles would be like in a female Bigfoot. I don't know. It's questions I ask.
Well, hey man, you know, it's we all
These are
have
the
to
things
we all
that
have
keep me
to.
up at night.
I mean, some people are, you know, like they look up at the sky at night,
I'm gonna have to go talk to people at work about that tomorrow.
Yeah. Some people look up at the sky at night and contemplate, is there life out there? And then some people sit around and think, hey, what does female Bigfoot's breasticles look like?
Please don't tell me you work at a bank or an insurance agency. They'll be like, we gotta find that guy on YouTube and click the thumbs down.
I work at a fucking bank.
Oh my god, do you really? Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh, this is gonna be a good day at work tomorrow.
I expect a message when you get back. I want to know what the opinion of the girls are on female Bigfoot breasticles.
Yeah, let them.
They told me to send them the YouTube link, so we'll find out more.
Well, hey, they can get in the comment section right now. Oh, that's great.
Mary, we need to know about the Bigfoot chesticles.
Mary, I tell you what, there's a toll-free number up there if you want to call us. I haven't advertised that tonight. No Common Soul called earlier. I love her to death. 1-888-88-YERGZ if anybody does want to call in. Mary, if you're out there and you're listening and you can tell us about Bigfoot's female breasticles.
Carla would have a down pat description, feel analysis, everything.
Warren, how did we find our people unintentionally tonight? How did that happen?
We're out here.
I have no idea, buddy.
If
you want fun, though, just totally go hang out.
Yeah, you guys, what are you doing Saturday night? We have a great show called The Misfits where we get totally have an adult beverage and give each other shit. So
fuck yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, you
got
can
a
have
bag full of unopened wine coolers in the back seat of my car, so we're good.
I was afraid where the end of the bag sentence went. That was I got a bag full of
something. You'll have to be there to find out what it is.
Pass. Hard pass.
So Travis, come on.
Cheyenne, do you do any artwork or you?
We need to expand your experimental horizons to get you ready for the gay Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, I have this really weird feeling that you two would probably be willing. Well, you three would be willing to get this guy.
My mind went somewhere.
Warren, go ahead.
Well, I mean, man, you just can't go into like the whole gay Bigfoot thing cold, man. It's like you have to take steps, man. It's like a cumulative thing.
Let me tell you a great story, and this will tell you about my coworkers, because there'll be weird little things that, like, I'll be like, that would make a great story to write about. So I have the only calmer level coworker that I have. She goes, Diane, did you see this story about the restaurant that got their mascot stolen? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? So she pulls it up, and there was a little hometown restaurant somewhere here in West Virginia. I don't remember where, but they were like a home diner, and they had 2 3-foot statue of a hot dog, like a hot dog with arms and legs, cartoony hot dog, pouring like ketchup or mustard on itself, and some heathens came and stole it. So they were standing out with signs saying "Return Wiener Man." So the local cops went and found and retrieved said Wiener Man, and she is dying laughing at me, and she She goes, Wiener Man. It would be the perfect story, Cheyenne. Every now and again, she'll be like, are you still working on that Wiener Man story? And I was like, Barb, if it was finished, I would tell you.
Here's a good line for it. There were some good dicks on the beat.
That's right. Yeah, man. They were good dicks out there beating the feet, trying to track down that wiener.
That's right. So Batman always gets his man or his wiener.
That's right. That's right. One way or another.
So I imagine that neither of you envisioned coming on tonight and talking about gay Bigfoot and Wiener Man. So
anything possible?
Nope. Can't say I did.
So does any of this, to translate back into it, does it affect what you do? I mean, not what you do, but how you write and how your creative process is. I mean, we're all twisted in some way or another. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, does your outside experiences like
give inspiration?
Good idea. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm going for. Yeah.
I would say in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like a big history buff. I don't know. If there's like an old historic building somewhere or an old historic graveyard or something like that, I'm always all over it. And that plays big into a lot of the stories that I plot and stuff. And just, you know, like most everything that I do has some sort of horror element into it, because it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, whenever I was growing up and I saw the original Night of the Living Dead when I was like 5, and I saw Jaws when I was like 7, and that one was the one that really fucked me up. Like that, I saw that movie way too early, and that's why I hate the ocean. But it scared me at first, and then as I got older, I became very intrigued into it, and that's just so like anything horror, supernatural, or just crazy stuff that's you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal, but just like these weird urban legends that are like every town has. Like whenever you go into like a town, you start talking to people. Yeah, they'll, you know, it's this house over here that's something, or you know, this family that did that, or whatever it was. Yeah, that plays a lot into just it may not come out in the stories that I write, but it's always like in the back of my head, and I love that type of stuff.
For me, like, because Travis and I had talked about because like I love all the horror podcasts and all that kind of stuff. Like or like not horror podcasts necessarily, but like the cryptids and the true crime and all that different stuff. Like I kind of wanted to do something similar, but in like a webcomic.
Okay.
Which I don't remember if we got the first one done, but I wanted to do it on the Axeman of Louisiana.
Okay.
Kind of based off one of my favorite podcasts is Red Web from Rooster Teeth, and they all have a lot of the same sense of humor with stuff that I do. If I like that seriousness to it, but it's almost like if I go to write something for it, I'll make it goofy and weird, and it's really hard for me to, if like I'll try to write stuff for like that I think would be a good comic idea, it's really hard for me to keep it anything serious.
You could do a good Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like where, you know, we were talking earlier about like you said you can never stick to writing like one thing. Like I've got so many stories started for so many different things. Like I've got the majority of a kid's book version of The Night Before Christmas written in the point of view of my hamster. I have one that is written about me and my best friend, who I think it was called Third Wheel, and it's about me and my best friend who move into a house with my asshole rabbit who just mooches off of us.
Oh, and the asshole rabbit who mooches off of us is like an actual thing.
Is right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say she named Travis in the book is what I was thinking you're going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm the asshole rabbit that mooches. It's just an allegory.
Yeah.
Prospecting USA Hunting says now Travis can do something with Glenn and the gay Bigfoot on the back of a fire truck. Oh my.
Yeah.
But there's got to be like sexy firefighters hanging off the side.
Is anybody else here getting all hot and bothered?
Well.
Okay. Hey, man, be truthful about it.
I plead the fifth.
Let your freak flag fly, man.
I got a conversation to hang around with. I sleep with 14 guys a day when I'm on duty.
Wait, go on.
Yeah.
See,
well, you had me at Big Gayfoot or Big Gayfoot. That's it, Big Gayfoot.
Yeah.
I would Big Gayfoot. The life. Well, we can imagine if there was a Bigfoot and he didn't feel normal, he was gay. What kind of life would he have? Because he'd be shunned by the other bit. Well, you'd think he'd be shunned by the other Bigfoot. So it could be a story. Maybe you never know.
Maybe
he can find the innocent.
Bigfoot, and I just thought of a mixture of Big Gay Owl from South Park and Bigfoot.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Bigfoot society is very accepting of alternative lifestyles. You never can tell.
Love is love in the Bigfoot society.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot of entertainment up there. They
don't have to find out.
That's true.
But you'll never know about it.
Maybe they hook up with the deer and have raves and pierce each other's nipples and testicles. You never know, man.
You never know. That's a good way to put it. You never know. Like, wow. Really?
Yeah, I mean, you
what was that? A fairy tale book?
They all get matching lower back tattoos as well.
That's right, man. There's a Sasquatch right now walking around somewhere in America with a tramp stamp and his nipples pierced.
Looking for you, Glenn. Looking for you.
That's right, man. He's coming for you.
I'll be going out in the woods. And I tell my friends this when we go out. I've been out in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee.
Yeah. He's gonna sashay right up and knock on that door. And you better answer it when it happens too, man.
If I see a big sashay, there's already a problem.
Oh my God,
man! It's because man, I'll tell you, it's going to be fabulous.
A really good gay Sasquatch story.
I was feeling about 3 months. I'm going to get
on Mothman's Drag Race.
This guy is so fabulous that he's not called Sasquatch; he's Sasquatch.
I'm feeling about 6 months. I'm gonna have a PDF show and go. I just want to know what you think before I publish this.
Yeah.
Funded in 2 minutes.
That's right.
I will bring you on. So
that's exactly right. Yeah. Glenn and the Sasquatch.
And hey, I need a sponsor. OnlyFans.
There you go. Yeah.
I will do my damnedest to get us an interview with RuPaul so he can read it to the children.
Yeah, that's right.
You just made the boss at the radio station a happy man.
I'm sure we did, yes. Sure we did.
No, you don't understand. He's in Florida. He never mind. I ain't gonna get going.
Okay. This is kind of leaning into the politics a little bit. Yeah.
Oh no, he would be happy about that. So, this is great. I've enjoyed this. I needed to laugh after the horrible day I've had. So thank you.
Sure.
But seriously, if you'd like to come on the Misfits Saturday night and you're bored, You don't mind
Sassy
people
Squatchers.
poking fun at you?
Sassy Squatchers 2025.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah.
Sassy Squatchers.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Prospector USA there, we call him Wendell by his real name, and sometimes he's nice to us, other times he's kind of mean. So
Okay, all right.
and then
Yeah.
my girl is done run off and left me Uncommon Soul. She usually calls, or she did call in the show, but so she's always around. So, but yeah, Saturday night if you're bored, heck yeah, I'll send you the link. Come on in. More
Sure,
than merrier. I mean,
I just saw that. I've heard they braided horsehair.
that is actually true.
Wait, they're touching your hair, Glenn. They're already there.
Yeah.
Last episode, they touched your hair and brought it up. They're here.
I will have
We're
a
getting
haircut
him
by Saturday.
extensions.
How was it, Glenn?
So for now I'm picturing we get you like the Fabio hair riding behind Bigfoot on a lovely unicorn just off over the rainbow.
I
really hope that I haven't. Hey. I really hope that I haven't taped my campaign. Like, get off here and like everybody's like, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah, I'd be like, do not ever go on his show again. So no, well, we never know which way the show's gonna. We have set out. This is what we're gonna do, and by the end of the show, we're over Shine or Squirrel. So we never know where we're gonna go. But we really do enjoy a lot of our guests. I've never had a guest kind of be a jerk to us, so I've had them not show up because they probably watched some episodes before and be like, no, I'm not part of that. But I've never had anybody be, because we're just people after all. So, and we all got some kind of story. So Cheyenne, you've got several books written, but do you draw? Is Travis or you the drawer? Which
no, I used to draw a long time ago, but I don't anymore. Work takes up so much of my time anymore that it's like my creative outlet is mostly in writing now. That's what that's where my passion is more.
Gotcha. And Travis, so you pick up and you take the slack there and you got that part. So, and was some of the pictures that they sent, he's looking at it. Some of the pictures and stuff that was sent to me, that was your artwork, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure because I was very impressed.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
And I tell everybody about your Kickstarter now that we've totally tanked your career. So
hey,
you're
man,
going to end up with a fans account.
He's appealed to a whole new crowd now, though.
Yeah, all the Sassy Squatchers out there, man. They're going to support that campaign.
Yep.
No, seriously, tell everybody where they can find it. And what is your projected release date?
What was it, baby? Like April? No. August.
Okay.
July. Okay.
They can hit you with the flip flop.
Yeah, that's
that's for later.
Consummate professionalism. Flip flop, cat, whatever she can pick up. But
well, then I'll take care of this part then. So you can check out the Kickstarter. We've got the Kickstarter link posted anywhere, but if you go into Kickstarter and type in Death Rain, it's the very first one that pops up, Death Rain Guyana. You can check out our Facebook page, which is also Death Rain Guyana, but death is all in capitals. All updates are posted on there. You can check out John Holland's Facebook page, Bradley Golden, Javi Lapara. We're all always posting updates on everything. We've got some really good rewards on the Kickstarter, and hopefully even a couple more coming soon. So just be on mainly all the updates are on Facebook, so just keep an eye out on there. And if anything new pops up, that'll be your first place to see everything.
Yeah.
Shoot all that to me, messenger, email, or one or the other later, because I always post show, go in and re-edit everything and put in where to find this stuff, because I mean, let's be honest, you guys need it. So yeah,
We have to.
Besides for to have fun, I want your program to be a success. So.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Man, we certainly appreciate that. Yeah. Anywhere that you can get the word out, that would be fantastic. Yeah, we're always trying to find new avenues.
Go outside and scream it out your front door. I'm happy with that too.
My neighbors in Atlanta probably wouldn't like that. So, but it's been great.
Check out the Kickstarter.
Message. There was an echo.
There was an echo.
It totally went around in my headphones. When it messaged me that later, put that in there. And if you're serious, I will send you a link. One of you, both of you, Saturday.
Sure.
Maybe you just pop the top off and drink and sit around and BS with us, and you can
Sure,
stay for 5 minutes. Or
I'll pop the top off a bottle of wine and have a good time.
I'll bring the weed.
Okay, there you go.
I didn't say what bag I had. I didn't say what other bag I had in the back of the car. So
for the public information, it's legal. We're warnings.
Yeah, and I am a licensed recipient.
Yeah, we'll all sit together and come up with the story for Sassy Squatch.
Oh, I got ideas.
Okay, got ideas? Write it down. Write it down.
Sit it down, man.
I am really afraid.
I will shoot you my email. We will talk. We will make it happen.
Get something strange in my email and be like, "What is this?"
Don't open it. Too late.
Oh shit! Just don't let me.
God, these pictures are so graphic. Whoa, God.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. Let me just do this real quick. Let me talk about real quick first. Next week, I've forgot who we got come on. Y'all got me so sidetracked here. Let me pull my calendar up here. We have coming up next week. Maybe we're going on a comic book run where we've got several people that are coming on talking about their stuff. Next week we have Mark Bateman or NK Bateman. He grew up in Vermont and has some unique stories to tell. And then after that, is it really that week? Oh, this is great. I have Robin Williams next week. So make sure to tune in the 10 o'clock hour. I have Robin Williams. Shut up, Warren. I texted him. We talked. I got Robin Williams.
I believe you.
You should. Bobby won't show up because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. He doesn't want his podcast ruined by mine. Funny, I'm on Yerg's Radio, WDJY, and I don't know, some other damn places. Probably won't be for long, but hey, whatever. So it's been a great show. You two don't run off anywhere yet. I'm going to kill the feed here in a second.
Okay.
If you have any questions, drop me a message. You can always go over to the Facebook site or Facebook group, leave me a message, or you can find me on speakpipe.com/sportcat or the show and send a voicemail. We might get you on here. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I pretend to be a real DJ and play rock and roll music on the Thinline Rock Station. You can download their app or go to thinlinerockstation.com. Of course, after tonight, they may not. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, noon to 2, you can find me there. Otherwise, everyone have a great evening. Thank you for watching. It's been a long show tonight. We will see you soon.
Peace.